Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to watch this kind of like mini documentary from Tucker Carlson about the Thomas Crooks guy, the I'll say alleged, but kind of officially confirmed shooter of or tried to kill Donald Trump. Right. Uh, Before I get started with that, though, let's read through Pash Patel's uh, statement here, which just screams like a run-on sentence. Basically, it's just like it's annoying to actually read, but I'm going to read it anyways. Uh, Crooks case overview. Over 480 FBI employees were involved in the Thomas Crooks investigation. Employees conducted over 1,000 interviews, addressed over 2,000 public tips, analyzed data extracted from 13 seized digital devices, reviewed nearly 500,000 digital files, collected, processed, and synchronized hundreds of hours of video footage, analyzed financial activity from 10 different accounts, and examined data associated with 25 social media or online forum accounts. The FBI's investigation into Thomas Crooks identified and examined over 20 online accounts, data extracted from over a dozen electronic devices, examination of numerous financial accounts, and over 1,000 interviews and 2,000 public tips. Which did you just re-say that? Did we just read that? I Whatever. The investigation conducted by over 480 FBI. It's like, what the fuck? Who wrote this? Who wrote this fucking thing? I don't even think like I knew it was bad when I was first reading this, but I didn't pick up on it being this fucking bad. Like you're actually just repeating number. Like you already said this. Why are you repeating this again?
I get it now. I understand what he's saying now. But go ahead.
The investigation conducted by 480 FBI employees revealed Crooks had limited online and in-person interactions, planned and conducted the attack alone, and did not leak or share his intent to engage in the attack. Wait, did not share his intent to engage in the attack with anyone.
Lone shooter. Okay.
Yeah. So like,
But what he's saying with all that, why he's listing all that, he's saying the FBI is doing their job. That's what he's saying.
oh, got it. And they were so nice, he had to share it twice. Got it.
Right. We looked at 10 accounts. Well, wait. Thomas Crook had 10 accounts. Why do he have 10 accounts?
I know, yeah, that is
But,
actually weird.
uh, okay.
And
And
you
why do
mean
you have
bank accounts,
20
right?
different, yeah, why, yeah, it said that in the beginning, 10 bank accounts. And why do you
Financial
have,
activity, yeah.
yeah, and why do you have 20 different online
That makes more
accounts?
sense to
20
me.
online accounts.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, but when you say all of that, you're saying he had 10 different bank accounts. That's fishy. He had 20 different online accounts. Maybe you're talking about like he was on LinkedIn, he was on Twitter, he was on Facebook. And those are all
Yeah,
separate accounts.
yeah.
If that's what you're saying. But then you're saying we looked at all this, there's nothing there. It's not odd that he had 10 different accounts. There's nothing conclusive about that. Uh, he's a lone shooter.
Just like the footage had nothing in it, right? About Epstein, no footage, nothing to see here. I don't have to show you guys. Then
We're doing our job here.
then they
We deserve
forced.
to get our paychecks.
And by the way, the 10 different accounts doesn't have to mean bank accounts. They're just calling it financial activity. Uh, but even that would be a lot, right? Like, do you have 10 different things where your bank account is in? Like,
Well, it'd be even fishier if you only had 10 different financial transactions.
oh yeah, that'd be weird. But it's just like 10 different accounts of financial stuff. It's like, what do we mean here? Do we mean like he's on Venmo, he's on Cash App, he's on PayPal, he's on like that sounds crazy. Like 10 sounds crazy to me, right? Unless you're counting like stupid things like, oh, he's paying for Netflix, so there's another financial account, right? Like, no, that wouldn't work, right? I mean, I guess he's saying financial activity, so maybe that makes more sense if it doesn't mean like actual money transaction, uh, apps or services, right? But all right,
He told us a whole bunch of nothing and then concluded he's a lone shooter. Like,
Well, he told us a whole bunch of nothing twice in a row. He just like he just says it here and then says it again down here. 480 FBI employees. Over 480 FBI employees. Like, okay, we get it. 1,000 interviews. Where's it at? 1,000 interviews. 20 online.
500,000 digital files. If he doesn't do that much online, then how did you look at 500,000 different digital files?
I don't know. The fact that it's all like, all right, guys, we looked at, it just use like typical, like, borrow it from fucking CSI Miami, like, jargon. Just like repeat shit that sounds like official. And say, hey, guys, we found nothing. Just once again, say jargon that sounds like you're doing some sort of like special investigation shit. We use unlimited resources for all this shit, and we concluded that nothing happened. It's just, it is what it is. Whatever the news told you is the case. Instead of like going like detail by detail, okay, here's us investigating how he got in the roof in the first place, right? Showing us exact like diagrams or evidence and all that shit, right? Instead of just like showing all of that and be like, here's how this is the way, or here's how this is the case, right? Instead of doing that, instead they just say, we did this, and there's nothing to see here, just like Epstein. Listen, man, we went through everything. There's nothing to see here about Epstein's jail cell. Nothing to see about it. In fact, there's actually nothing to see about it. As in, why are you confirming that there's nothing to see while also giving us evidence of nothing to fucking see? We can't see anything, you fucking idiots. Christ, it's like on his face stupid. But I already long assumed this guy's just here for cannon fodder, bro. He's here to take all the bullets that, no pun intended, that Trump should be getting as a president, as a face of the presidency. But instead, it's going to fall on Cash Patel by a lot of these fucking content creators.
No, it's worse than what you just said. It's worse than what you just said. Cash Patel shows us a video of Epstein's cell, and it's not his cell. It's a hallway that you can't even see all the entrances to his cell. And Dan Bongino comes out on live TV and says, look, he killed himself.
They both did.
Right.
Cash said it on Rogan. Bongino, I think they were sitting down with Fox News, and he said the same thing. Nothing to see here, folks. Like, cool. Show us the nothing to see. Right? Hey, it's all a hoax.
They did.
Cool. Show us the hoax.
They showed us nothing. They showed us nothing.
It's like, like these guys know what people are asking for, and they're just on purpose gaslighting. Let's be honest. It's gaslighting. But, all right. Either way, here we go. Into the Tucker thing. Before I get started, don't forget to share support. Hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We are not in that Discord right now, but I usually am every so often. So please join if you feel like. All opinions are welcome. And obviously, these two things will be linked, or anything else we look up will be linked in the description box for you to check out on your own if you don't want to hear us pausing the video or talking over it, or just having opinions in general that you disagree with. I'm sorry for having those, guys. Either way, take advantage of looking at these things on your own. Yada, yada, yada. You get the deal. Let's get fucking cracking. Tucker Carlson with the kind of a mini documentary, from what I heard it was, called Who is Thomas Crooks?
When did you release this?
Yesterday.
So right after he heard that the Cash Patel's final report for Thomas Crooks was out, is my guess.
I thought this was planned. I was seeing like trailers. Maybe they knew that already. Maybe they knew.
Somebody timed it out. Cash Patel's side or Tucker's side, and I'm betting they're about to refute each other.
Or, behind closed doors, these guys are all on the same team. Possibly, maybe not. Either way, let's play this. Fuck, I need water. Whatever. I'll just apply. Here we go. And I'll be right back.
These are videos the FBI has worked hard to make sure you haven't seen. They're from the Google Drive account of Thomas Crooks, the man who on July 13th, 2024, showed up at the Butler County, Pennsylvania fairgrounds and tried to assassinate the frontrunner, Donald Trump.
And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Multiple shots, okay.
That day, Thomas Crooks came within a quarter inch of destroying this country. And yet, a year and a half later, we still know almost nothing about him or why he did it. That's because, for some reason, the FBI, even the current FBI, doesn't want us to know.
Tucker, I'm sorry. I know it's like a documentary, but let me just say this real fast. Why are we going about it this way, Tucker, already? Almost destroyed our country? Like, not saying, like, obviously not saying Trump should be killed or anything like that. At the same time, like, look what he is actively destroying the country. Well, the idea that I would want for a country, right? He's definitely destroying that. And hey, don't look at Trump, because guess what? Trump will do the same thing. You fucking dummy. Have you not been paying attention to the fucking Epstein stuff and the way he's behaving about that, Tucker? Instead, what does he do? Cash Patel did this. See? Cash Patel and the FBI. See? Come on, dude. Don't wait till the last day and be like, well, maybe Trump wasn't a great president. I don't want to fucking hear that, Tucker. You should already be there. How are you late on this? What did I say? If you're still, like, dick riding Trump at this point, you're a fucking idiot. Welcome to the club, Tucker. You are a fucking idiot. I'm like, I keep hearing this guy, like, avoiding Trump. I never hear him, like, critique Trump, really. I never hear him do that. And boom. Right on cue. Protecting Trump again. Almost destroyed this country. Stop it. Yes, it would be something tragic. But Trump not getting killed is still destroying the fucking country. And as you watch him turn on all your friends, you claim to like Massey, right? Claim to like Rand Paul. You definitely claim to like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And look at Trump trying to get them out of here. My friend Trump. Just different opinions.
What?
Shut the fuck up, Tucker. You're an idiot or you're part of the fucking crime. Seriously.
There's at least one person in the back of that's dead.
What?
There's at least one person that's in the back in that.
Oh,
in those
yeah.
fan seats. I know at least one person died from this.
I think there were several people that died. Because you could hear the pop, 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 and then pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like 8 or 9 shots at least.
Yeah.
I wasn't counting.
But all right, let's hit play here. I'm sorry, audience and fans of Tucker, but you have to hear, like, he has to call Trump, like, really call him out. Otherwise, he's not. What's the point? He's not worth it. Here we go.
What's up?
Since the start of their investigation, the FBI has claimed that Thomas Crooks acted alone and that he was a virtual ghost online with no presence at all. Their only substantive claim about Crooks' motive was that he was a right-winger. We learned that from FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate, who said this to Congress just 1 month after the attempted assassination.
Something just very recently uncovered that I want to share is a social media account which is believed to be associated with the shooter in about the 2019-2020 timeframe. There were over 700 comments posted from this account. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature.
The social media account Abate was describing was Crooks' YouTube comments. When the FBI made that claim, we had to take his word for it. We have no way to check, but now we do. In September, we obtained hundreds of comments from Thomas Crooks' YouTube account. Since then, we've gone to great lengths to verify that they're real. We can now confidently say they are. These are genuine, written by Thomas Crooks. But although Crooks' comments are interesting and give tremendous insight into why he did it, they're not the only story. The other story, in fact, the far more significant story, involves the government, the DOJ, and the FBI, which have hidden from the public what they know about Thomas Crooks.
Totally.
The purpose of this report is to reveal details of Crooks' social media accounts and to confront a series of key questions. Why is the FBI keeping Crooks' views a secret? Why are they ignoring congressional subpoenas to divulge information? Why are they pretending that there's nothing to see here? And more than anything, what are they hiding?
Tucker, you're going to have to include Trump into that because he's the guy that got shot at. Why isn't he moving heaven and earth to find out the answers of why he got shot at? Tucker? Huh? Sorry, guys.
Before we present our findings, it's critical to establish how we obtained the comments and how we know they're real. In late September, we received a tip from a source.
Pause.
He told us he'd gained access to some of Thomas Crooks' accounts. He'd found these accounts by utilizing tools commonly used by private investigators. The key lead was Thomas Crooks' phone number. That was published in documents obtained by America First Legal. That phone number led our source to Thomas Crooks' primary email account, tmcrooks7@gmail.com. That in turn, he linked with more than a dozen other accounts. That list includes 2 foreign encrypted email accounts, AmericanGamer@gmx.com, a German website, and bcook@mailfence.com, a Belgian website. Crooks had a Snapchat, Tom_Crooks19, a
American Gamer? Come on, bro. This feels weird.
Venmo account, Thomas-Crooks12, a PayPal account under the alias Rod Swanson, a Zelle registered as Thomas Crooks, as well as accounts on Discord, a Google Play account called Colossal Microwave, a Quizlet titled Thomas_Crooks, a chess.com with the same name, and 2 disabled Quora accounts under the handles Thomas Crooks8 and Thomas Crooks3. It turns out that Thomas Crooks was hardly an online ghost. He was active, and yet federal investigators lied and told us there was no trace of him online. Some of Crooks' accounts, like his Snapchat, appear to have been fully deactivated and completely taken out of use. Some of them may have been unused or cleared by federal officials during the investigation. We don't know because the FBI wouldn't tell us. However, our source was able to retrieve all data from Thomas Crooks' deactivated YouTube account, Tom Crooks 2178, visible to other users as Tom Crooks. This account includes his search history, his watch history, and 737 public comments. Another critical account, his Google Drive, is linked to an archive of Crooks' YouTube account. That's where our source obtained the videos of Crooks dry firing a handgun in his bedroom with paper targets on the wall behind him. But aside from the video evidence, the email addresses, and the phone number tying Crooks to the account, or the fact that most of these accounts use his actual name, there are other key details that support the authenticity of what we found. For example, this video's metadata shows it was filmed at Thomas Crooks' parents' home.
Marvel fan, makes sense.
And some of Crooks' YouTube comments are still available on Internet Archive sites. Crooks' YouTube channel was suspended on July 14th, 2024. That's the day after the shooting. Its offense, quote, violating YouTube's policy on violent criminal organizations. And though Crooks' comments are no longer available on YouTube, in many cases, the commenters who responded to Crooks are still there, and they match what we see on the Internet Archive sites. When you click on their tags of Crooks' accounts, YouTube takes you to a page that says, this channel was removed because it violated our community guidelines. In other words, there is ample evidence to support the authenticity of these posts. Our source figured it out. So did we. But when we reached out directly to the FBI to ask why the Bureau hadn't shared any details from the account with the public, the FBI responded by questioning whether we could verify the authenticity of the account. We were confused by this, considering the authenticity is self-evident. And of course, the FBI would have known that since the day of the shooting. What exactly is the FBI hiding? Here's what we do know. The digital comments we obtained were posted between 2019 and 2020, when Thomas Crooks was between 15 and 17 years old. They show two things. First, that Thomas Crooks was not some secretive lone wolf who never warned anyone that he was planning violence, just the opposite. Years before he showed up in Butler, Crooks was leaving a detailed digital trail of violent threats, including calls for assassinations and political violence. Second, they show a man who started out as a radical Trump supporter, whose views on the president changed completely during COVID. The FBI lied about that fact and pretended that Crooks was a right-winger. At 11:35 p.m. on July 19, 2019, in response to an MSNBC video, Crooks wrote, quote, "Ilhan Omar and others are invaders and should honestly be killed and their dead bodies sent back." At 1:17 a.m. on July 20th, 2019, Crooks commented on a CNN video. He said Donald Trump was the literal definition of patriotism. 7 hours later, he commented on an MSNBC video. He wrote, "I hope a quick, painful death to all the deplorable immigrants and anti-Trump congresswomen who don't deserve anything this country has given them." That evening, on a separate MSNBC video, he wrote, quote, "Every one of the Trump-hating Democrats deserve to have their heads chopped off and put on stakes for the world to see what happens when you fuck with America." These sorts of comments continued for months and became increasingly violent. The following day, Crooks responded to a CBS Evening News video about the squad saying this, quote, "This is going to be blatantly racist, but I hope Trump has these people murdered." Crooks openly called for dictatorship and putting, quote, "Hispanics back in their place." He warned that if Democrats win in 2020, quote, "they won't be in there for long because unlike the Dems, we have guns and lots of them." In one comment, Crooks noted that, quote, 50 million Americans with AR-15s will make quick work of any blockades the government can put in to protect the White House. He left multiple references to Mao Zedong's famous line, "The only real political power comes from the barrel of a gun." On September 30th, 2019, Crooks responded to comments about a potential civil war, saying this, "Most rioters don't bring assault rifles and body armor like we would, and we wouldn't be going to the streets, we'd be going to Washington." At this point, one user named Hyperpandas responded saying, quote, "Law enforcement will thank you for grouping up and being so visible. It'll make your arrest so much simpler." Crooks responded saying, "Cops can't arrest me if they're all dead," before adding, "Even an untrained man with an AR-15 is dangerous. You think Adam Lanza or any school shooter trained? Nope." If you navigate to that YouTube page today, you can still see identical contextual comments and people referring to Thomas Crooks, including one user who wrote this, "You were on YouTube threatening to shoot government officials. I sure hope the FBI is monitoring social media for violent nutcases." That exchange is still available on Internet Archive websites. But the FBI didn't see that before the shooting? That's hard to believe. On various occasions, Crooks openly said things like, Mueller should be hanged along with the rest of the Democrats involved in that witch hunt, and
Wait. Is Tucker saying he wants the feds to be scouring the internet for our statements? Has the Overton window moved that far? Where it's like, now we just accept it, we're okay. We want it now. We want feds spying on us.
No, they should. They're saying they already are. Why didn't they catch this?
Okay. I mean, I'm not getting that sense. I am not getting that sense.
NSA
in fact,
is. I don't know if the FBI is, but the NSA definitely is monitoring every communication out there. So why didn't they catch this?
Why didn't the NSA catch it? I doubt they're as
because they're in on it.
Maybe, but I doubt they're as covering of this stuff. I'm almost guarantee there's a shit ton of people that are saying wild shit on the internet about random politicians they want to harm.
I know I've said some things that are on here like so.
Yeah.
I got to give President Trump a fist bump, so they let me that close to him, and I'm kind of out there.
I mean, I don't know.
It could have been a body double, though.
Body double?
No, possible. Anything's possible.
Did you wash your hands when you're
At
done?
that, they have masks now that that are very, very realistic.
I don't know about that, but once again, there's people saying wild shit all over the fucking place. How like that'd be a lot to ask for a human being to like, zone in on one thing. And also, Chucker can't be okay with people spying on us, right? That's not a good thing.
And also, everything he's shown would be in support of Trump. So why would he stop Trump with what we see as of yet being shown?
Well, I assume Tucker's gonna show us because, yeah, it is.
He said he changed. Yeah, he said at some point he changed.
All right, here we go.
Always believed being patriotic was lining up a bunch of socialist Jews, like the ones who booed Trump, and blasting their useless brains out with an AR. And yet, in early 2020, Crooks seemed to change radically. On January 23rd of that year, he referred to, quote, Trump's stupidity. He began to mock the concept of the deep state.
Hold on, go back to that
He
one.
suggested it was a code word used. He began to
I can see.
Also, keep in mind the only reason we may know about this is because of Trump's stupidity. I mean, he is not really good at hiding things, and I'm willing to bet that sort of conduct happens quite a bit. Nobody finds out. No?
Oh, look at this is the Jonathan Turley. Trump does not have to commit a crime to be impeached. Video. That's the video he's responding to.
But this statement
Okay.
isn't all out like, fuck Trump, right?
He's just calling him a fool.
Yeah, like he says things out
So
loud
far.
he shouldn't be saying, right?
Yeah, so far.
It's more extreme. Here we go.
mock the concept of the deep state. He suggested it was a
Deep state is simply made up of anybody who did right-wing conversation over. How's that going against Trump with that statement?
Sarcasm?
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know yet. So far, not
he's
enough.
accusing Trump of creating a dummy character to just blame everything on, and I could see that. They have any problems, they just blame the deep state. They're
Yeah,
very
he was doing
convenient boogeyman.
Okay. So far, it's not enough to say he flipped.
Yeah.
He changed.
It's probably like, let's be honest. If this is the real guy saying all these things, like how extreme those other things, they were extreme, right?
Like, fucking kill Ilhan Omar and send her back. Send her body back.
Yeah, pretty like detailed and graphic, right?
Shoot
that
all the
is him?
Jews. That would shoot all the socialist Jews. Straight in the head.
Let's say that's where he was actually at. And then at some point, if he believes in that extreme of a way, he probably finds out. At some point, he's going to find out that Trump is not on his team, right? Maybe he believed that. He's going to find out that Trump is not actually the guy he thinks he is, right? It's like, don't worry, Ilhan Omar's safe. She's not getting deported or anything. Like, you're not going to drain the swamp and hang the bad politicians, right? It's not happening. Hang them for treason, right? It's not happening. But all right, here we go.
code word used by Trump supporters for, quote, anyone who disagrees with the right wing. Suddenly, he sounded like an MSNBC commentator. In February of 2020, he called out Trump supporters as, quote, too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are. I mean, literally, you guys sound like...
That is not Tucker, you little propagandist little shit stain. MSNBC? Bro, people that were hardcore for Trump, and I mean more in like the, maybe not QAnon, but, you know, guys like, oh my God, he's going to end wars, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, right? Those guys, for sure, enough of them woke up, it was like, damn, I got tracked. This guy lied to us.
You could say this, if you read this whole thing, you could say this from any side.
no, this would have to be a Trump supporter that found out he's not what he said he was, right? This doesn't sound like a Trump supporter that went to the left now all of a sudden, right? He's gonna have to have more, like Tucker would have to showcase more. Where he's like, you know what, guys? I'm a communist now. I should have voted Obama.
You're still at, there's nothing saying he's against Trump yet.
I mean, he kind of is saying against Trump, right?
No, you could be saying this exact thing about the left or the right.
No, I think it's about
on
Trump.
The other side.
I think it's about Trump.
I'm saying open and fair. I could say this about the left any day of the week, and someone from the left could say this exact thing about somebody from the right any day of the week.
Okay, but contextually, it's definitely about Trump and Trump's followers. Like, it just contextually just says that blatantly. Right? Like, you really believe that shit, right? It's a response to someone in the comments watching a Donald Trump in the deep state video. I think it's and then with the comment before that, it's probably about Trump supporters, right? You guys are brainwashed. What the fuck? Lied to you guys. You guys are like a cult right now. Right?
We always call the left cult on the right.
And we
always call the left cult.
And they do the same with you. But we're saying a guy who believes that Trump is like this maverick savior type figure. He's going to do all the things that he likes. And he finds out, like, oh, no, he's not going to do that. Fuck this guy. You guys following this shit? You're in a cult. Which actually it does look kind of cult-like. Not to agree with the shooter at all. But, like, come on. Like, there's a lot of people, like, I'm sorry, it is what it is. It looked like cult-like brainwash behavior. It really did. Actually still happening for a lot of people. Just a lot less than before, but still. It looks very similar to that. But, all right, here we go.
A cult at times. That same day, he called Trump and his supporters, quote, racist. It was an amazing transfer. That same day.
No, I'm pretty sure people are just racist, and Trump is one of them. There does not need to be a deep state for that. What?
So that's a flip. There
does not need to be a deep state for that.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Who are you quoting there? Who are you quoting?
Thomas Crooks, the attempted shooter of Trump, I guess.
Shooter of Trump. They got killed.
This makes absolutely no sense. This makes no fucking sense.
He's saying he can be racist. He doesn't need a deep state to be a racist.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure people are just racist, and Trump is one of them. There does not need to be a deep state for that.
So if Tucker's done right here, to me, this is the only one of him saying anything against Trump. 100%. The one before,
yeah,
you could argue it, but this one is the only one you could solidly say is against Trump.
Comes off as extremely deceptive the way Tucker's covering this, because once again, the other things were just so extreme.
He said there's 737 of these comments. He showed us 15.
But the other ones were just so extreme with poor spelling and all that shit, and this comes off as like proper grammar, the capitalized try. This screams
right,
like
there's a comma.
Is this a different person? The fuck? Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see where Tucker goes.
He called Trump and his supporters, quote, racist. It was an amazing transformation. That April, during the peak phase of the coronavirus lockdowns, Crooks wrote, quote, it seems that you people don't understand that sometimes public safety comes before your personal rights. Are you not willing to quarantine one member of your family to save the rest? If so, you are not a patriot and you aren't protecting anything. Around this time, the new left-wing version of Thomas Crooks became very critical of conservative media. He said at one point, quote, going to a Chinese New Year's party in America isn't putting you at risk for coronavirus, because believe it or not, viruses don't spread through race like Tucker Carlson probably told you. That May, as state officials across the country overhauled election systems to promote mail-in voting, Crooks attacked Republican concerns about voter fraud as, quote, ignorant. 4 months later, in August 2020, his tone had shifted even further to the left. He said, quote, I believe the outcome will be irrelevant. In response to the same video, Thomas...
Hold on. Like, perhaps, but Trump won in an upset victory in 2016 and could do the same again. Either way, I believe the outcome will be irrelevant. On the
Why do you
left.
believe that?
On the left. Got it. See if there's more to that.
I believe the outcome will be irrelevant. In response to the same video, Thomas Crooks issued what sounds a lot like a...
I understand. I'm not drones. I guarantee you aren't going to win a war by only fighting bad weather. In my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into a potential building, and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people, politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush/surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well. A large portion of the war will also be propaganda. Whereas both sides will. Where's the left part that he keeps talking about? Like politically left.
Wait, read this whole thing to yourself. He knowingly knows that any attempted assassination would be propagandized by the other side. Yeah. Both sides will want people to join them, and a big deciding factor, I don't know what it says after that, but he's outlining how what he did is stupid.
Well, yeah. But also, like, I'm looking at the weird political game that Tucker's playing with his commentary so far. It's just, you better have like a real smoking gun about this whole left thing, because I don't fucking see it. Yeah. I don't care if you bring up racism. You can bring up racism on any political spectrum you fucking want to.
We don't need to follow Tucker's highlights. We need to read the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because he's doing a bad job right here.
Well, it's like this thing that happens when it's like, oh, if let's say they find out Thomas Crooks had a boyfriend, right? He's gay. Oh, well, he was on the left. That does not mean that. That does not mean that at all. Like, there's like this weird, like, because of the culture war, maybe the kind of brainwashing from the culture war stuff.
Log cabin Republicans. What about them?
Log cabin Republicans? Huh? Are you calling Tucker gay?
No, there's a gay group of Republicans called Log Cabin Republicans. I don't know if they still have it anymore, but when it was more controversial to be gay, before like gay marriage and everything, before woke took over and oppressed everybody, there was something called the Log Cabin Republicans.
They still have that.
That's the weakest idea of oppression I've ever heard in my life.
Well, whatever. The point is they exist, so we can't forget.
They're still in New York City.
Yes, there's gay people in all different versions of the world, around the world, all day and all night. Got it. That's a duh, but they do the culture war thing and associate that meaning, oh, you're on the left, when that might not be the case. Right?
Actually, there isn't gay people all over the world. That is a particular worldview. That's an opinion.
No, there's probably gay people all over the world. Let's be honest.
No. Well, yeah, that's your opinion. But what I'm saying,
I didn't say openly gay, but there's probably gay people.
But it's actually a pretty recent phenomena for people to actually identify themselves by their sexual kink. That's pretty new. That wasn't true 100 years ago, even here. So
listen, 100 years ago, there were dudes fucking. Just be real about it. There were dudes fucking 100 years ago.
Yeah, there has been this activity, absolutely, for as far as we know throughout human history, but they don't call themselves a gay person and identify themselves as a gay person. Anyway, whatever.
Well, they didn't have the... I bet if someone came out in 80 years ago, right, and they're like, hey guys, I'm into dudes, just openly, and no one cared, just move on. But because of such resistance, now it becomes an identity, a stance to take, right? Just saying.
but only because we live in a political environment that has made identity politics a strategy. So that's not necessarily always true that people would identify with the thing.
Well, if no one made a big deal out of it, I don't know if, right?
Well, before in the 80s, it could get you killed to fucking be revealed as gay, and all time before the 80s.
I think that's exaggerated. I think. See, this is what's difficult. Like people, there have been conflicts. There was repression, but then there's also, like the Stonewall. People were breaking the law, so the cops have a right to go there and see what's happening. So, was that escalated? Could that have been handled better? Things like that. And sure, there people have been violent to gay people, especially when they get hit on and they react
Well,
badly,
well,
and
think about
that's
the
not
laws.
good.
You, if you were doing sodomy, you could be
Yeah,
arrested.
yeah, you
So
could.
why would anybody come forward whenever they're facing being arrested for having a
Right, they
type of
wouldn't, and
sexuality?
there were penalties
Until
throughout
the pipe
history.
bursts, right? No pun
What
intended.
what I'm saying, at least according to the history class that I took, where this teacher was talking a lot about this stuff, this is a new conception that you identify as a gay person. That's like a new thing, and I think it comes out of a kind of politics that's different. That is identity politics. We're gonna do define ourselves a certain way, and then we're gonna lobby in that, as that community that before that
Say it
way of
loud.
identifying
I'm black
didn't
and I'm
necessarily
Yeah.
think
proud.
of themselves
I
as a
Say it
community.
loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Now, why did James Brown have to do that for? Why do you have to do
I
it?
blame Nasser. I blame Nasser for pan-Arabism. Just kidding. I don't know.
Let's be
but
real.
what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
what I'm
People have
saying
been
to
treated
that,
like
Amy,
shit in history. Why do you think why do you think Nick Fuentes is even successful in any inkling? Because these guys feel somewhat persecuted, so thus their identity becomes a stronger thing to stand by, right?
Right, but this is the whole exactly fun, interesting thing. Like for people who are doing the white identity, like what exactly is that? Who has allegiance to white? Who speaks white? What does it even mean to be white,
Hey, make
right?
it as you go.
But if you had like Protestants versus Catholics, that identity, people had a lot more connected to it. It meant something. It's something about their ancestors, their beliefs. So I'm just
They do that
saying,
with race too, but God.
well, I think that's kind of a newer thing. I mean, they
well,
definitely did it with.
it's new because gays were getting killed in the 80s and prior to for being gay and sole reason being gay and getting arrested for being gay.
But there was
So that's why
persecution
they
or whatever, or however you want to call it.
that's why no, that's what
There
I'm
was
saying. To
repression.
what you,
There was
I'm
this
trying to
before.
I'm
Okay.
trying to say to what you said, and that's the reason why it is now a different way, because it was like a resistance that kind of built up in the early 90s, being like, we're not going to take it anymore for the gays.
Did they pause for that?
But you agree that there was like, you agree that there was repression against gay activity with laws and punishments long before the 80s, right, Webster?
I'm saying the
Yeah.
80s and like most of history before, until you go back to ancient times where it's like it was known that the Greeks were gay. Ancient
Sodom and
times.
Gomorrah was a rough place. But the thing is, what was unique about that movement is that they're combining a way of doing politics with, a way of identifying and then doing politics around identity. They're doing identity politics. That wasn't really that common,
Are you
as far as
fucking
I see.
joking? That's been around forever, hasn't it?
Well,
Granted,
not
Well,
you want to
necessarily.
call it a belief in a religion, but it is an identity too, Amy. You actually like project that by yourself, right? That
What do you mean?
being a
No,
Catholic
yeah,
is an
there
identity,
are.
right?
Yes. Yeah, but like show me
It's
in
legit
history,
though.
for example. No, but just like hear me out. Show me in history where women were an identity that they, had a specific movement that was separate, Like I don't
The torches
I
of
don't know that
freedom.
what do you
that's
mean?
The torches of freedom. They went out there and smoked cigarettes.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about though. I'm talking that is relatively recent. That's connected to mass marketing, right?
Well, I'm sure there's
And
things that happened
grenades.
before, but they'd get shit on for doing so.
Well,
Just like with anything else, I'm sure there's people that represent
I
all
would
different types of
argue.
people that would get shit on when they tried to do something about, their own rights or whatever. Right? Right?
I don't know. It's an interesting question about like identifying with a religion or an ethnicity, a tribe. That's as old as the hills. But what about identifying as a, sexual preference, or now we have trans, that kind of thing, and having an identity around it and a movement around it, or like, women are a part of society. When have women gone to war against their own society? That's and war is an extreme, word, but you know what I mean? Gone to battle. So that's, yeah, I'm not sure if that's sort of a more, it's definitely a more modern
Uh,
thing. Definitely part of modernity.
nah, listen, if you go back throughout time, if I had to guess, and you can ask some individual
God.
that's gay or a woman, like, hey, if I could start a movement that make sure that you have whatever rights you want, would you do it? They'd be like, fuck yeah.
They just don't, but they didn't think about it that way. That's the whole
You
point.
don't
It's
think
like
people
a
thought
new
about it
idea.
that way? Okay, if you mean like
Yeah.
protesting itself is a new phenomenon because before they just chop your fucking head off, okay, fine. But or
Right.
just whip you in
Yeah,
the streets
I
or
mean,
something.
that's what I'm
Okay,
saying. Like, it's several steps, right? It's like first you have to identify as
that
that
applies to
thing.
everything. You're saying you try to apply that to gay, but it actually applies to everything, right?
Right. Because
Well,
like if it's you're
Didn't the
gonna
king
get
just chop
shot
your
if you
fucking
come
head off
out as
before?
gay. Well, if you're gonna get shot for coming out as gay or arrested for it, why would you do it? Now that it's 10 people have been gay bashed and it fucking led to their deaths, that leads to a protest. That's when the fucking started building up his momentum in the 80s. Like there's like 10 famous gay bashing cases
yeah, one of the
around the
guys
country.
looked like he was a drug dealer, the Wyoming one. So people
But
aren't even clear
that's
why
where
he
it
was
picked up its
killed.
ground. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
it
the
picked up
biggest
its
one in like the
ground.
early 2000s, I think. Matt,
So
it'll come to me. Matt Shepard? Matt Shepard? No?
Either way, there was a
so
Oh,
sentiment.
you're
the
probably,
identity the, the
are you too young?
identity the identity became a reason why they said we got to stick together because we're literally getting aka lynched like black people. No, I don't necessarily agree with gayness and all that shit, and I'm not like for it, but I do recognize where they thought they were oppressed and needed to make a movement.
Say it loud.
Yeah,
I'm black and
I'm
I'm
not
proud.
saying that I can't understand why people did it, but the point is, I wonder, like, I mean, certainly for people to define themselves as a gay person was a new thing in the last century, according to my history teacher who studied these things. So, her name was
Actually,
Alice Wexler. You
I'm gonna
can
say I
look at her
disagree with that
work.
because they would have a name for it. It's just it wasn't their word. Someone else would have a name for them, right? They were being identified as a
Right,
group. What are you, a buggerer?
right.
A
So
faggot?
self,
A
right. So
whatever? A sodomist?
self-identifying. That's right. Self-identifying and then creating, an identity politics formation.
Yeah.
It's unique to this time,
Almost like
as far
they
as I can
owned
see.
the thing because it seems like the world's treatment, right? Like black people got rid of Negro, right? Like, no, I'm black, not Negro, not a Negro
Well, right.
or a
There,
colored.
part of it was this thing with reclaiming and saying queer is a good thing, not a bad thing, and that kind of taking the sting out of language by using it, normalizing it, embracing it. But there was actually this whole concerted movement. So how much of it is organic too? Because obviously,
Dude,
you're right, Dubster.
things are gonna
People
happen.
would want such a movement, most likely, if they conceptualize it that way and saw a possibility. However, when you look at how that movement actually happened, it's pretty interesting. In terms of the activism.
Better make sure you're not being tricked by anything,
Well,
Amy. By the way, you better make
well,
sure.
when you
You better make sure.
when you change it, when you change the question to how much of it was organic, I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
what I think you're saying. Of
yeah.
no, it wasn't exactly
Not
like
any groupiers
this.
being organic. What are we talking about?
Right. I think that's important to keep in mind, though,
But
because
you're
the
isolating.
reason why The reason why it's interesting isn't to say like you can't see why people wouldn't want the change and wouldn't be on board and then wouldn't help once they see people rising up to do it. But the point is that we aren't necessarily shaping our thoughts on things, and we're
I
just
am.
getting these few options to latch onto, and it's all pre-prepared for us. And I think that's the important thing to be aware of, because it might not be
Okay.
the best
but that-
options. It might be designed to just make us fight with each other so that they can
It
put us
applies
all
to
in a
everything, Amy.
surveillance
I
prison.
don't get it. Why'd you
Yeah, it
focus on
does.
gay then? It applies to everything.
that's
So
just-
why are you saying that? I don't get it. You had a point
Why
for
are
bringing
you
up.
crying?
You had a point for bringing up gay in general, right? You had a point for going that direction, but it applies to everything. So I'm
that's
like, what's your actual point then? What are you saying? Hey guys,
Well,
be careful. You might get tricked
because-
by your groups. Okay,
Right,
Well,
like
my-
we
that
got,
makes
we
sense
got
to me.
for the black movement, we got Al Sharpton and Jesse. What's his fucking name?
Jackson. But
Yeah,
I don't know if that Jesse
Yeah,
Jackson
well, my
episodes,
point
but whatever.
is,
Hey guys, be careful.
Well, you guys are
Okay.
talking. You guys are talking. Oh, yeah, because we were talking about gay Republicans. That's how this all happened. And then the whole idea of a gay person, and then you were talking about the stereotype. Oh, gay must be on the left.
Yeah.
So all that.
I'm like, oh,
that's
that's
how we
bullshit.
got here.
There's for sure gay people on the right. Right?
And then you said there's gay people all over the world, and I said, well, not necessarily, because they don't necessarily think of themselves.
Dubster's on the right, so there's definitely one gay person on the right.
So you mean socially, they don't call themselves gay, but they actually engage in homosexuality. Is that what you're saying?
Well, this absolutely people have engaged. I said that engaged in homosexuality,
But they don't self-identify as
homosexual
gay.
behavior. Right? Because
But if they had the
that is a
option to,
whole-
what would happen? What do you think? If they were like, hey
Well,
guys,
I
you don't have
don't
to hide
know.
this anymore. You could just say it in front of anyone. Or maybe it's someone's business, right? But as far as like the people that get
Right.
politically active, they might be
That's-
like, yo, I want to declare this. Right?
That's
I'm pretty
another.
sure a
Call them
guy
extroverts.
fucking a guy fucking a dude is self-identification of gay.
Well, I
Pretty sure.
wasn't talking about a political group. I was talking about like
Well,
someone who engages in homosexual sex. That's what I
Is
meant.
already
Yeah.
identifying as gay.
I wasn't meaning like a political group called gay.
Well, for example, in
Didn't mean
prison,
that.
a lot of men
mean
who
that.
engage in homosexual acts don't consider themselves gay. They don't identify as gay. What is that? I don't know. A
That's
lot of
a-
people
It's kind of gay.
Illusion?
in,
Yeah, it's kind of gay.
in,
Let's call it that.
in
Not kind of
conservative-
gay. That's gay.
Okay, but see, this is the whole point, that there's
They're
a
gay
difference
for the
between
stay.
a behavior, like doing something and then identifying as it. Like maybe you're a kleptomaniac, but do you call yourself a thief? Maybe you should, but do you? So, or how central
Okay.
of your life is this one thing that's
Okay.
happening in your life?
So okay,
That's
we're-
all.
fair enough. Fair
And,
enough.
and I'm not saying it to be distracting, but I do think that the way we think of ourselves and the way we think of our identities is a powerful influence over how we see ourselves moving in the world. That's why it's important to me, but whatever.
Fair
We
enough.
need not agree.
So where
Maybe
are the
for others,
where are the
not
not
for
gay places? Like where are the places in the world that don't have gays? Like tribes in Africa where they would kill them.
throwing
Well-
gays off rooftops. I do want to get back to
Like
this
in
documentary, but
India-
go ahead.
In India, I feel like people, a lot of guys, because they couldn't have kind of like the prison situation, that they would get killed for having, relations with someone outside of marriage, a woman. So they would, have access to each other and they would do things, but
Bro, that's
It-
gay.
it's-
gay. Let's call it what it is.
Right.
okay, but they don't think of themselves as gay. And so that's what I'm saying. Like
They
I
can say
had-
that all they want, but you don't know if they're worried about being
They
called
know-
something.
No.
They know they are doing
Now
what
you're
everyone else
imposing
in
an
the
identity
Hold on,
them.
hold on. Amy, they know what they are doing is called gay in their language, no matter what. It's
Oh,
same
That's not
sex
necessarily
having
true.
sex.
They might not have like an identity name. I don't know if that's true, but there was, for example, a movie
There might not
made
be
in
a-
India.
Hold on.
Oh my
There might
god.
not be a move.
We're rabbit
There might
holing
not
They
be a move.
wrong direction.
Hold on.
They said in the
Hold on.
movie,
There
there's two
might
women,
not
and
be-
they said we don't even
Hold
have a
on.
word for what to call people like us. So I don't know.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. They understand. Maybe there's not a movement behind what they're doing, but they understand that it is same sex having sex, which is what we're calling gay, because that's the simplified term for homosexuality. They understand they're doing what we call homosexuality, their word for it in their language.
I say we move on. Yes, there's Republicans that engage in homosexuality. We can move on. That don't self-identify as gay. There we go.
That's right.
Thank
And
you.
the prison guys.
And the gay for the stay. Shout out to the prison guys. All right, here we go.
Digital manifesto, quote, "In my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people or politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush or surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well." These remarks were especially notable because they came at the final phase of Crooks's YouTube commenting. At that point, a new character emerged
So he
in the
went quiet
conversation.
for 4
A user
years.
named
What was that?
He's saying this is the end of his comments in 2020 and 2021 or whatever. So
Okay, he hasn't said anything that
was
make you
like
think left.
near the end of, right. But
I'm just hearing
so now
extremists,
he said
honestly.
Crooks went quiet until 2024 and actually took the shot.
Okay.
His internet presence went silent after this.
Okay. It's just like Tucker was selling us the narrative that he sounds like MSNBC. I'm like, where? Where do you see that at? Where the fuck do you see that?
One
That's weird.
One comment.
Yeah.
Trump can be racist. He doesn't need a deep state for that.
And I don't even. Yeah, it's just the same. It's just exactly my point about the gay thing, where it's like, oh, just because you're gay doesn't mean you're on the left, which is what Tucker's kind of saying with certain statements. But I'll give him room. Let's find out. Here we go.
At that point, a new character emerged into the conversation, a user named Willie Tepes, who started pressuring Crooks to commit violence. For example, quote, "If a gun and a badge is all that is needed, then authority obviously comes from the barrel of a gun. We have more guns than they do. There is no way we can avoid a war at this point, so you better just get used to the idea. We have nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable."
Oh, my bad. You're just reading it?
Yeah, because fuck what Tucker's highlighting.
Yeah. I can't really see any downside to people who are sitting on an armory of guns. The more guns that are out there, the less likely a gun confiscation will be possible. Nope, guns do not guarantee a victory any more than jet fighters, tanks, and drones do. It is the fighting spirit and brains that wins. We have nothing to lose and everything to win, and the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable. Nothing in life is simple, but that is no argument against doing. But that is no argument against doing it. I'm still trying to find the left-leaning nature. Like, I know, like,
right.
I'm
right leaning person can have the same thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thoughts for both sides.
Once again, I'm going with stereotypes. And as far as the idea of, like, quote-unquote on the right or quote-unquote on the left, they'll typically see on the right saying a global police state, like globalism, like shit like that. And, you know, get your guns to take down the government. I mean, come on. Stereotypically, that would be quote-unquote right-leaning. Once again, I think these guys are out of their fucking minds. They don't actually apply on the political spectrum, but I'm saying, like, on the surface, stereotypes would call this right-leaning. Right? There's no way you could say it's the left. There's no way you could say that from these statements.
I'm saying I could argue a leftist is saying this. That's
if you turn your brain off for your feelings, probably.
No,
right?
no. If
is that for your feelings,
a militia communist,
okay.
This is easily a leftist could be saying this too. That's what I'm saying.
The more guns are out there, the less likely a gun confiscation will be possible. I mean, come on, dude. Are you being honest or are you trolling me?
I'm being honest. Both sides could be saying this.
Sure, theoretically, sure, but on like the stereotype of globalism and they're gonna take our guns. Where does that come from, dude? Come on. Doesn't mean you're a bad guy, Dubster. I'm just saying, like, stereotypically, where does that typically come from?
Stereotypically, it's from the right, but you are ignoring a segment of the left, the militia-style communists.
No, I understand. Holy fuck. Okay. Once again, it's weird. Like when you talk to people and like strategies, it's kind of weird. Like it feels like I just heard you do that, Dubster, and it feels like I just heard Amy do that. You guys talking strategies. It's like very weird, man. But all right.
What I'm saying
Let's
is
not be
that
honest.
is
Let's fuck
not
around.
anything. What I'm saying is
Come
what
on,
Tucker
dude.
highlighted was nothing again.
Let me
And
add.
that's the point. It's
I understand,
nothing.
but
It does not distinct.
add the context of what what Tucker showed us before, and what he said. He said it's the left. He sounds like MSNBC, right? Tucker said that.
What I'm saying, it is
Stereotypically, this would
one-
definitely lean towards. They're going to take our
there's
guns.
One point.
Who is that?
There's one point Tom Crooks has said anything negative about Trump. So why is Tom Crooks shooting Donald Trump? So far, we have nothing
Yeah, well, if he
from
sees
these comments.
No, we do. We saw them already, right? Where he's like, Trump has betrayed us. He's full of shit. Anyone who believes in Trump is a sheep, right? He's saying that, and now he's saying, what do you do? Like, you can't go out to all-out war. Like, take out leaders one at a time and shit like that, right? As a strategy. So this makes sense. Are we not picking up on that
No, it
logic?
doesn't. No, I don't agree with
him shooting at
previous one. I'm
Trump
saying
makes sense.
He could have been that one where he said you're all cults. That could have been talking about a left.
Replying to
neutral
a
at this
Trump
point.
video, talking about Trump and saying how like kind of phony he is.
Is that guy officially supposed to be dead, by the way, the shooter?
Yes.
He's
Yes,
dead, right? He's supposed to be.
He was died on scene, shot by. We don't even know if it was a federal officer or a state officer, but he was shot.
He was
We
shot
got
in the
a,
head on
uh,
the roof. Of,
Yeah, we got
I don't
a
want to be a
federal
snarky academic,
report
but we
versus-
can't say he was died. Okay, that's bad grammar.
He has died. Yes, past tense.
I thought you said he was died, but okay, maybe I misheard.
No, he did
It's a
say
small
that.
difference.
He did say that, but I didn't care.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Anyways,
Yeah, like it didn't matter at all. Yeah.
okay, it's like you see. So Dubs, you're just unaware of like how people from the outside view typical quote unquote Republicans. You don't see that at all. You don't see like the idea that hold on, real quick. You don't see the idea where it's like, oh, like on the surface, right? You hear Republicans say they're trying to take our guns, talking about the left. They're trying to take our guns.
Yes.
Right, but at the same time,
Yes.
okay, now you're saying a more militant
I
left, but
do see
stereotypically
that.
would be what? Come on.
Yeah,
Well,
stereotypically, I told you, stereotypically, that's right. But there is a segment of the communist militias that
they are.
say the same things that the right
Revolutionaries.
says.
I understand.
Pretty-
I understand, but I put it in context with Tucker calling it the left and sounds like MSNBC.
I understand. What I'm saying is he is not given a solid stance of this guy being left or right, and what he says is the change.
No. Okay. It's
Except for the one point
Oh,
where he said Trump
oh, damn it.
Trump could be a racist. He doesn't need the deep state for that. Sure. Okay. That could be a change.
But now you're saying like, okay, that does look kind of left all of a sudden. Like
That single statement,
then what did the rest look like?
neutral, like both
So
sides
they're all
could be
neutral
saying
except
this.
that one looks left, you're saying. They're all neutral, but that one looks
Yes.
like the left. See, it's like
Right.
come on, dude, you're trolling me now.
I'm saying
on,
both sides
dude.
would say the same shit.
Come
Both
on,
sides would say the same
dude.
shit.
You wait. Like that one's definitely like the left. But the
Let's
rest of
keep
the stuff,
going. Like,
neutral.
we're not gonna agree.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
That's you
Both
walking.
sides say
That's
the
you
same
walking with
shit.
shades on, bro. You're not looking.
Both
bro.
sides
Come
say the same
on.
shit, dude.
Come on, they're gonna take our guns. Let's send Ilhan Omar back. Come on. Dude.
No, that
Shut
was
the
previous.
fuck up.
No,
Shut
we're
up.
referencing what he said was previous.
Oh, so-
I'm talking
wait.
about after Tucker said it changed.
Okay, so before he was on the right.
Yes.
Okay.
100%
Okay.
He was on the right at the beginning.
Ugh, my brain is healing now. Thank God. I thought you were saying the entire thing was neutral, except that one statement was like, okay, he's on the left.
No. From the point on where Tucker is said, there's been a change in Thomas Crooks' way of talking on these YouTube comments. After that, he's only really demonstrated one that could be
Okay, fair enough.
considered like solidly a change.
Okay, fair enough. I would personally go with extreme. Like you can see him getting more extreme. Like he's leaning towards extremism, right? I'd go there. But once again, on the surface, for regular motherfuckers looking at it
Yes,
that pay a little bit of attention to politics, they would think it's right leaning. They would think that. They would think Alex Jones, globalist.
Yeah, he outlined how he would do a revolution.
Yeah,
that wasn't politically in favor of one side or the other, but it was extreme to outline how he would have a revolution occur.
Yes. But someone from the outside could look at that and be like, okay, he got here from right-leaning views, right? Like, once
again, I could argue that from a communist fucking point of view too. Communist revolutions
we have the
happen
context,
too.
We have the context that you called the right.
There is no context to it. On that solo,
you showed the right.
On that solo comment.
Okay, whatever. It's just like it feels like a tone deaf. Like you're just not like seeing it, but it's okay. And then once again, this is not an
trying
indictment.
to do the best I can.
Me too, but like it's not an indictment on the right wing because I don't think this guy is just crazy. He's batshit. He's pathological. He's not on the right or left. Like his actions and all that shit. If this is all real, right? If it's not like an FBI fucking bullshit thing, right? If it's real, this guy's not on a fucking team. Really, he's in pathological territory, right? That shit crazy territory.
Everybody's fucking me, and this is the next one that's fucking me. That's the way he seems to be to me.
I get more of the idea like he looked at Trump. Like if this is real, by the way, not if it's fake, but if it's real, he's like, oh, Trump's gonna bring in the shit that I want to happen, right? Then Trump became like a kind of a failure to him, and he's like, fuck, this guy betrayed us. He's full of shit. You guys are in a cult. I see things for what it is. And now we have to like actually take some real action because Trump ain't gonna do it. He's full of shit. And you know, I'll
he was pro lockdown,
or cut the head off the snake. I mean,
and he was pro COVID lockdown.
So,
well, it's just
that'd be stereotypical.
Tucker called that a change.
Left.
Tucker called that a change, but Trump was like back and forth on the lockdown stuff.
Oh yeah, and he was in favor of the vaccine and all that stuff, But on the surface, you'd call that, like, once again, typical mainstream politics. That'd be called the left, right, in favor of lockdowns. Versus on the surface, right, mainstream level, the right would say, no, we need to open up businesses and right.
Fuck, dude. You know how many right wingers turned on that too? Like they all, plenty of them went and got the shot and were scared to go outside.
Well, like stereotypically though, right? Like that'd be called like left leaning or something.
It wasn't. So it broke stereotypes. The right split. Like a lot of the right wanted like fuck a lockdown, and then another part of the right was, oh, absolutely lockdown. And I couldn't put a percentage to it, but I wouldn't say it's stereotype at all because it was split.
Okay, that's what it looked like on like as far as the vibe of the who's going what direction and all that shit, and the political divide that they obviously artificially create. Honestly, that's where it seemed like it was going, but whatever. Let's keep it going. We kind of butchered this documentary, by the way. We kind of butchered it.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, they reported 100 million people got that shot. They did not tell us politically how many on the left or the right got that shot. So I couldn't absolutely tell you anything.
I would say the loudest voices speaking against the vaccine would be considered "quote unquote" right-leaning. That's what I would say. But either way,
alternative. But not Fox.
No, not Fox. Not the Trump administration, right?
Not like Glenn Beck. No.
Yeah.
Alex Jones paused on it, then made it look like he was the first on top of it, saying this is the Chinese. The Chinese did all this. You shouldn't trust the vaccines. This was all plot.
But he was
at first. Yeah, he fucking read the room first before he started commenting. So he let a couple months go by. So who the fuck knows what these numbers are?
But either way, let's continue because we kind of butchered those. We kind of like way too much pausing, going in way different directions. But all right, let's hit play. Here we go.
Nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable. Nothing in life is simple, but that is no argument against doing it. So who is this Willie Tepes? Unfortunately, we don't know. The FBI hasn't made any mention of him in public, although they certainly know he exists. Just days after the shooting, somebody screenshotted Tepes' YouTube account page, despite the fact he had very few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa website. Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the US State Department. That's all we know. We do know, however, that Crooks' online footprint abruptly ends after his encounter.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I have to hear that all over again because
Tepes was Antifa. So Tepes was Antifa.
Okay, let's hear this.
Who is this Willie Tepes? Unfortunately, we don't know. The FBI hasn't made any mention of him in public, although they certainly know he exists. Just days after the shooting, somebody screenshotted Tepes' YouTube account page, despite the fact he had very few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa website. Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance.
The United States remain deeply concerned about the racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists. Racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists. He's calling them Antifa? Threat worldwide and is committed to countering the.
Very racist. Antifa is very racist.
Oh, come on. Once again, on the surface, what are the narratives about these things? Is that they're so hardcore SJW, they're here to spring out the illegal immigrants to open the borders and right? Come on. Anyways, threat worldwide.
No, they're anti-white, so that's racist. Sorry.
Got it. A lot of them are white kids. Let's continue. Threat worldwide and is committed to countering the transnational components of violent white supremacy. What?
No, Antifa is anti-white. That's what people have to understand, because that's what is making it seem necessary to have white organization, white identity. In the past, people did not see a need for white identity, but when you make it something that it's legal to discriminate against, to minimize violence against someone because they're white, all of these things have been going on. People are seeing it. And so that is what is causing people to unite around a white identity.
Their answer is, even though most of them are white, but they'd say, as a minority, you can't be racist, right? Only white people can be racist, according to them.
And they do beat up people who are trying to have a different point of view.
They're racist against white people for being racist. Is their idea, right?
They support a systematic. Look, Dave Chappelle called this out years ago.
That's their logic.
It isn't logical.
No, that's their logic, though, is that we're racist against white people because they're racist, right? That is their logic, though, right? On the surface? Or will you deny me this, too?
They're for a, racial standards based, deciding, what should happen to you, whether it's when you face a criminal proceeding or when you're a victim of crime or going for a job. They believe in a racial system and disadvantaging white people, whether they're white or not. And a lot of them are Jewish because it comes from a movement from Europe called the anti-fascists were Jewish.
Okay, but I assume they're not these guys, though. So we can, right? I think that Tucker just called Antifa is probably not them, right?
Well,
that
this is
in the U.S. That's what it is.
No, read the screen. He's talking about read the screen, Amy. This is like a Nordic resistance movement, NRM. If you read the details that are listed here, they're basically saying they're neo-Nazis, they're anti-immigrant, they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-LGBTQ. So they're the counter to Antifa. But in the same sense, that's all leftist as well.
It's
Actually,
like I'm
it
talking to
sounds-
two marketers instead of real motherfucking people. I'm so
It sounds like
Why are
feds
we-
on both sides. To be honest, it sounds like feds on both sides.
That
really.
sounds a little better to
Right.
me. That makes more sense to me. I mean,
Right.
not everyone, but like there's probably the regular dupes, and then the higher ups that get phone calls at random times at night to talk to their actual bosses and handlers, right? That makes more sense to me. But to just like as the U.S. deeming them as a terrorist group based on a white supremacy terrorist group, based on being anti-immigrant, anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, plus whatever the fuck, right?
They're
Like, come on, what does that
counter-revolutionaries.
read as on the surface? Like,
Yeah,
right? It's like, why
they're
would we?
counter-revolutionaries to Antifa. But the whole idea is it's socialism versus socialism.
See, that's your marketing shit you're doing instead of looking at it. It's incredible. But okay, fair enough. To each their own. But obviously, everything I just read right here does not say Antifa, Nordic Antifa. But go ahead, Tucker. Do your thing, Tuck. All right, homie. All right, here we go.
Few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa website. Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the U.S. State Department. That's all we know. We do know, however, that Crooks is
That's all we know. We didn't even read the thing that's there, which would add context to it, to where it's not the idea of what we call what regular people, probably 95% of Tucker's audience would call Antifa. It doesn't resemble that at all. Like in words on the surface, right? But Tucker won't go over that because he needs you to think like he went to the left. Thomas Crooks went to the left. like lying right to if you fall for this shit, bro, you're a fucking idiot. I got nothing for you. The words don't say what he's fucking telling us it is, right? It makes no sense. But here we go.
That's why I told
online
you
footprint.
quit reading his highlights.
Yeah,
Read everything
exactly.
you see.
Exactly. But all right, here we go.
Link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the U.S. State Department. That's all we know.
Because I trust them
We
too.
do know,
Trust
however,
the
that
fucking
Crooks'
State Department.
online footprint abruptly ends after his encounter with this mysterious figure, Willie Tepes. Regardless of whoever Willie Tepes is or was and what his motives may have been, who he may have been working for, there is no doubt that Crooks was ripe for recruitment by someone. From early 2019 to
Antifa.
mid-2020, as his political views were evolving, Crooks searched for Trump more than 700 times online. He also searched for Jack Ruby, the man who assassinated Lee Harvey Oswald. He then...
Wait, what?
Well,
He looked up Jack Ruby. What? He's like, hey man, in case this plan goes sideways,
Lock him up.
I want everyone to know it was a conspiracy, all right? So I'm gonna look up Lee Harvey Oswald, I'm gonna look up Jack Ruby, I'm gonna look up fucking, I don't know, Dancing Israeli. It's like, I want everyone to know it was a conspiracy the whole time. But I did it though. It was a conspiracy, but I did it. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go.
submitted queries for craziest chemical reactions, cars running over protesters, best places for mass shooting El Paso, Trump civil war, Orlando shooting reaction, firing an AR-15 as fast as possible, fertilizer bomb, how to make napalm, how to make a Molotov cocktail, mass shooting Canada, Oklahoma bombing, and sniper in Dallas shooting. He also searched for American Nazi Party, German national anthem 1933-1945, Hitler's speeches with subtitles, neo-Nazis, and quote, why gays need to go. Hate to brag, but we're pretty...
I've looked up all that stuff.
He
What's
was
the problem?
clearly moving towards the left. Toward the Tucker. He better fix this because he's showing us things in our face but saying Antifa, or he started sounding like MSNBC, the left. Like, this is insulting to your intelligence. I'm gonna skip his dumb fuck ad with his fake fucking country music. AI generated country music is skipping. There we go. All right. An FBI cover up? Let's go.
So here you have a volatile, troubled, possibly mentally ill young man with a long record of espousing violence in public.
AB.
The FBI clearly knew he existed. And then you have, at the very end of his years commenting in public, espousing violence, an exchange with a mysterious figure affiliated with a group that we know is being monitored by the U.S. State Department. It turns out that around the same time that Thomas Crooks was making these searches and posting overt threats of violence against public figures on YouTube, the FBI was issuing contracts to private sector tech surveillance firms to harness the power of mass data collection tools that would monitor social media for people just like Thomas Crooks. It's hard to imagine that Thomas Crooks, who was making these posts publicly and in his own name, had not been identified and looked at closely by federal law enforcement. In fact, it's impossible to imagine.
Now, that reminds me of, once again, Kash Patel, when he was on the the Senate hearing, right, for Epstein stuff, right? But he also got a chance to answer a question about surveillance, and he's like, "The FBI does not have enough we need more resources to scour the internet, and find these things out before it happens, right?" So he's advocating for what they probably already do, but my guess is they want it to be out in the open. Like if they get, so there is no idea of getting caught surveilling Americans. It's more of, this is just normal everyday shit. Even though we're kind of already thinking that direction anyways, right? Regular Americans are like, yeah, we're probably being spied on by whoever, but just don't say bomb in a in a text message or on a social media post. Just don't do that and you're good, right? It's probably the idea. But if they make it out in the open, as in this is just normal society now, yeah, that's where things get really scary. The justifications will up the ante,
Think about your idea of the Fourth Amendment, unlawful search and seizure, and you don't want them spying on all your shit, but they've already crossed that line, and they've admitted 20 years ago, fuck it, we're gonna collect everything and use all of it in court against you. So why didn't they catch this?
Well,
they're not worried about the Fourth Amendment violations that this is. And Tucker's saying, well, he should have been arrested previously, or at least talked to by the FBI before he was crazy. And by the statements above,
he sounded like he was already crazy, but yeah, go ahead.
But by the statements above, how politically divided we are, fucking 50 million people have talked this kind of way.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing where I'm giving Tech.
And they're gonna
Tucker.
hang us all. They're gonna hang us all if we ever do anything, regardless of if it's relevant to the court case. They're just gonna go back 15 years and say, "Oh, you said this back then."
Yeah, but there's just
when you were politically on the other side of somebody, and this highlights how you're a fucking psychopath, and we're gonna hang you in court, basically.
There's
but I guess this all presumes. Well, does Tucker presume? Is he trying to say that they could have stopped it, or that we need to change things to stop it?
Well, that's a question for later on.
Highlighting.
I hope he goes into that.
Because why didn't
I'm saying he's highlighting? They already do this. Why aren't they using it?
There's all these things that look like they, left opportunities on. It looks kind of like either negligence or intentional. So, I mean, the better question is, why wasn't the security properly done? And then my other question is, they would argue maybe they're waiting for the AI to get better so they can find all the people who say things like this, because Snowden's still rotting in Russia because he told us all that they've been doing this. But the thing is, there's probably some Fed egging him on, or some agent of somewhere egging him on, right?
Well, that's what we just saw. That's where I give some credence to what Tucker's saying in regards to they should have had an eye on him. Not because he said things on the internet, right? There's so many people that even if they are a creepy conspiracy thing, and it'd still be a complicated thing to do a pre-crime thing with someone, right? It's still pretty difficult. But if they're talking to someone who's from a known organization that you already recognized, right? I assume they're talking. Probably the other dude probably has a VPN talking overseas, between Thomas Crooks and this guy from this Nordish guy, or whatever the fuck, right? It's once you have someone where you already know they're a particular organization that you deem them as, now you should definitely have an eye on Thomas Crooks at that point, especially with what they're saying. That's a bleep on the map, and you're okay, now let me zoom in on it, versus 10 million bleeps. It's like, what do we look at, right? That's too much, too much for anyone to handle, right? They'd rather have something they can lock in on, which is that guy from that organization, right? But
Here's what I think the FBI would say if they would respond to what we're talking about right here. Here's what they would say. All of you Americans have said some shit we could fucking indict you over, but we're not going to until you actually do something. And then when you do, and it doesn't fit our narrative, we're going to hide what we want to hide, and we're going to release what we want to release.
And we might even be in there in the chat with you, instigating you. Sorry.
Well,
Right.
there's certain things they definitely have where they're definitely monitoring those things, and maybe they have a little bit more legal wiggle room there with like chat rooms that are on like kind of suspicious sites, if you will, where they're allowed to like look in and do things. And because there was like an HBO documentary called Thought Crimes, where this guy was allegedly talking about like just his fantasy, right? And it wasn't pedophilic, but it was like kind of violence and sex like heavily mixed together, right? Like some fucking Dahmer shit or whatever.
Right.
And the guy got in trouble for that, right?
A written out fantasy, like it's a story he's telling.
Yeah, and I don't even think he was talking to a cop. Was he talking to? He might have been talking to a cop, but if he wasn't, like that'd be them monitoring that, right? Because it's a sus website or sus chat room or something like that. But that makes more sense to me of them spying versus like everyday people, like right. There's too many fucking people, even for an algorithm and AI thing, whatever, for FBI resources or whatever to be like zeroed in on that many people. But if you get something that could lean in a certain direction, right, then you might give it a look. Like this guy from overseas that he's talking to, this Willett or whatever the fuck his name is guy, or something like a weird suspicious chat room, right? That makes sense. But either way, let's see if Tucker does. Like, hey guys, we need to step up security more. We need to be spying on more people. Don't we have AI for this? I don't think he would go full-throatedly that direction. Pause. But let's see if he says like narratives leaning in that direction, because we just heard him do narratives blatantly. He's turning to the left. He sounds like MSNBC. He sounds like Antifa, or he's working with Antifa from Europe, right? But all right, here we go.
Can I take a quick poll first, though, real quick? Like, what percentage chance do you think this shooting was staged?
Me personally, this is like
50-50.
I
50-50.
have not went down this rabbit hole. That's why I'm watching this thing in the first place, is to hear more information on it.
Yeah, for me, it could have been 50-50.
Yeah, I don't have good numbers, but I'm definitely mixed like Dubster. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been setting a kid up by the cops. It could have been the kid on his own, for all I know. I mean, that one sounds a little bit weird because of him being allowed to be in a position where you can see him, right? You can see him on the rooftop.
Talking about, like, do you think Trump actually got the risk of being shot, or that part was fake?
I leave room, and I consider that as possible.
Well, we do know
that'd be a crazy shot, right? That'd be a crazy shot if he shot a bullet.
I know from memory, there was people calling out in the audience saying, "Hey, there's a dude on the roof," like to where like 20 people were saying it, and there was a cop they were yelling it to, and the cop was like, "Where? What are you talking about? I can't see. I can't find what you're talking about." Acting like a complete fool while they're pointing at him on the roof, climbing. There's videos to this.
Yeah.
To where this cop's just playing fucking dumb, where it makes no sense.
The peak prosperity video I watched, they said they had the Trump security team like doing like roof sniper detail type shit. They were positioned in a way to where there's actual tree blocking that building, that rooftop initially. Like they could have had people in better positions that would have just saw him off rip. Right? They would have saw him, they would have saw the gun coming up, right? He peeked over and then I guess ducked back down, and that's when he like got the gun ready to go, right? Then he peeked back over the rooftop and then shot at Trump, right? But the way these guys were assigned to the areas, they were like in weird fucking spots. They could have had someone that would have obviously saw them versus like someone a lot further away, or someone being obscured by a tree or something like that. That's what I fucking heard from this video, but I can't. Don't quote me on that. It's better off watching the video.
and then he was instantly shot after he took some shots at Trump.
Bro,
Supposedly.
he took like 8 fucking shots, bro. He's like pop, pop, and then pop, 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 right? And then you hear the crack of like a sniper or something, and then that's when it just stops, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like within that moment of it, he was instantly shot after you stop hearing him shoot.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
I go with supposedly because I don't know how fake this was or how real it was.
Well, let's see if Tucker goes there. Here we go.
In fact, it's impossible to imagine. What do we know? Well, we know that the FBI had access to these YouTube comments, and rather than giving us valuable information about them, giving us a sense of why Thomas Crooks did what he did, they used a selective read of those comments to lie about what Thomas Crooks was thinking. 2.5 weeks after the attack on July 30th, a source familiar with the investigation told CNN that, quote, federal investigators are looking into a YouTube account possibly connected to Crooks in which the user espoused political violence as well as anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes. Well, of course, it wasn't possibly connected to Thomas Crooks, as the FBI knew full well it was Thomas Crooks's account. There was never any question about that. And yet the same day, the FBI's then deputy director made the same dishonest claim before Congress. The week previous, then FBI Director Christopher Wray publicly questioned whether Trump was even shot.
With respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear.
In February 2025, the New York Post.
How's that questioning if he was? What the fuck? He said it was maybe a bullet, or it could be shrapnel, right? Like I guess a piece of a bullet, or whatever, something, right? But Tucker made it sound like he's saying,
here,
like, he's questioning if he even was shot. It's like, what do you mean by that? Like he's trying to cover something up with that, or?
Right. What he should be saying, and he didn't say, Tucker didn't say, was this was a little bit time after the shooting where Christopher Wray would have known the details.
He wouldn't be allowed to say
He should
like
have
that.
known.
Yeah.
He should have known the actual fact of whether it was a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear. But he said it like this, which is not what Tucker said about this. I remember watching this, and it was bullshit what Christopher Wray's saying, but Tucker isn't elaborating it correctly.
Fair enough. Continue.
Claim before Congress. The week previous, then FBI Director Christopher Wray publicly questioned whether Trump was even shot.
With respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear.
In February 2025, the New York Post reported that, quote, the FBI has obstructed efforts to solve the mystery of why Thomas Matthew Crooks, who left no manifesto, did what he did. And this fact, said the Post, left local law enforcement as well as Crooks's former friends, classmates, and teachers frustrated. The level of lying and obstruction is shocking. Less than a month after the shooting, Congressman Clay Higgins of Louisiana, a former police officer, traveled to Butler to conduct his own investigation into what happened. When he arrived, he discovered a disturbing fact. The FBI released Crooks's body for cremation 10 days after July 13th. This wasn't known to the public until Higgins arrived in Butler on August 5th, when the coroner told the congressman, quote, he would never have released Crooks's body to the family for cremation or burial without specific permission from the FBI. The timing of Crooks's cremation is notable. The day Crooks's body was burned was also the day the House Homeland Security and Oversight Committees had begun their investigations into the shooting. The fact the body was cremated made it impossible for investigators outside the FBI to verify the coroner and autopsy report. You can't do a new tox screen because the body doesn't exist.
Yeah.
According to Higgins, quote, this action by the FBI can only be described by any reasonable man as an obstruction to any following investigative effort. Another
Reminds me
notable
of the
detail
Twin
is that
Towers.
photos from the day after the shooting show an FBI agent hosing down the site where Crooks died. High-level intelligence officials and congressional sources told us this is very strange, and that the FBI usually hires out crime scene cleanup to third-party contractors. But in this case, they did it themselves, leaving no blood and no tissue for anyone else to analyze. In the photo, the agent's shirt says he's from the Technical Hazards Response Unit, a unit that collects traditional forensic evidence contaminated with hazardous materials. After the shooting, the FBI sent Crooks' phone to the Bureau's laboratory at Quantico, Virginia. Agents there were able to open it in less than 40 minutes using technology from an Israeli tech firm called Celebrate. According to the Post, FBI officials who served under President Joe Biden accessed Crooks' phone, computer, and his encrypted messaging apps in Belgium, New Zealand, and Germany. Yet none of the online activity the FBI has discovered was referred to in any way in the final congressional report that was released in December of 2024.
By the way, why do we still know nothing about that guy in Butler? What's going on?
That was a good question, a question that
I want brownie
most
points,
people thought
thank
would be
you.
answered by the new administration. Within weeks of retaking office, Donald Trump told the New York Post's Miranda Devine that he had, quote, ordered the Secret Service on Friday to provide him every bit of information about his two would-be assassins.
You've had 2 assassination attempts, one obviously where you got hit by that bullet in Butler. There's a lot of frustration that we still don't know about that shooter in Butler, and we don't know about his communications. We get stonewalled all the time asking questions about it. Is there frustration on your part? Will we get transparency? Will we know the bottom line story?
It's very interesting because we have great people. I think Pam is incredible. I think Cash is incredible. And they're doing a great job. They're being recognized as doing a great job.
But you're the president.
I know.
Come on.
I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is.
But his people insist there's no
We got his transparency yesterday by Cash Patel. It was a lone shooter.
Yeah. After a thorough investigation involving 480 units.
500,000 online files.
17 Dick Tracy comic books. They watched Batman a couple times. After all that great research, they figured out it was a lone shooter. Might have been Antifa.
You think those 2,000 interviews were with people in China? Had nothing to do with it? Hey, did you hear about Trump getting shot? Yeah, I did. All right, that's a tally. That's a tally mark right there.
They're asking squirrels that were around the park at the time, luring them with acorns. Hey guys, you see anything? Cash Patel's on the job. All right, here we go. Let's be real. Cash Patel's probably just using the information from the last FBI guy. Let's just be honest, right? But claiming credit for himself.
Want me to
right?
work?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not here to fucking work.
Just read that guy's report and said, all right, who worked on this? These guys? All right. These are the agents that worked on it. FBI's worked tirelessly as one unit. All right, here we go.
That's a lot.
I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is.
But his people insist there's nothing there, and they don't seem interested in finding out more.
How come we don't have more information on the assassination attempts on President Trump?
There's
he hung himself.
2 reasons.
Wait, what?
2 open, ongoing prosecutions. But we have personally invested our time in making sure that we have looked at any possible international connections to terrorism and adversaries alike. And we've both been down to Quantico. We've both done the laboratory testing. We've both seen the explosives analysis. We've both seen the firearm and physically held it. We are all in on these investigations.
Are we going to be surprised at what you learned?
Who are you looking at, Cash Patel?
You know what, Maria? Cash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now, so out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, and whether you like it or not is up to you. If there was a big explosive there, right? Given my history as a Secret Service agent, and my personal friendship, as the director does with the president, Give me one logical, sensible reason we would not have. If you can think of one, there isn't. There in some of these cases, the there you're looking for.
It got him elected. I could go with that one.
Or like, yeah, maybe Trump. Maybe you're following your friend and president said, "Leave the case alone, lone shooter." As one of the as one of the conspiracy theories that, you know, Trump had so much shoot at him, but not really.
I keep watching the Limitless shorts, and it's talking about how once he was running for president, there was a sniper in the distance, and he mathematically figured out because he saw the glimpse of the scope, but he knew he wasn't going to step entirely out of the shot. He just wanted to get nicked so that could make him more electable, and he calculated all that right then and there. A TV show's telling us a plot of something that kind of is what happened.
There's no chance that oaf could time up bullets and Trump get the fuck out of here.
Thomas Crook could intentionally miss just a little bit.
Didn't they say like if his head was turned a little bit another direction, he would have got fucking splattered right there? I don't know. And it's like he turns right to his right. He grabs his ear and he kind of ducks down. You have free. He's not moving at that point. You have free shots right there to shoot that guy, and he missed every single one and killed people behind Trump, right? Or sorry, I guess in front of Trump in that case.
I'm just saying, yeah. Like, but you got a TV show telling us beforehand a possibility of something that actually happens later.
Yeah, well, that happens quite a bit actually. It's scary,
right?
Enough. But yeah, just I guess he was like a really bad shot. I guess he was like practicing all the time, but just really bad at it. Because he took like 8 shots. It sounded like, right? And he nips his ear, but like you have 7 more bullets, my man. He just whiffed all of them. Remember, Trump ducks down kind of. He stays in kind of like in one spot. He like grabs his ear and he's like right. And he's like sitting there in one spot, like. You know, as dark as that sounds and how terrible that would be, it's like it just like I'm trying to make sense of it. Like how'd you miss that badly? Like how far away was the guy? Do we know? How far away he was? I don't know.
Don't know.
He was like really far away, and he was like he was terrible at shooting. I don't know, but
maybe he was getting nervous from all the people.
Yeah.
He could have been getting nervous from all the people identifying his location that were around him. I don't know.
I think he shot once and realized he didn't like kill him instantly. Maybe that's when the other shots started going out, and he knew he was on like a timeline, like a time frame. Like fuck, as soon as the first shot goes, now everyone knows there's a shooter, and thus I have to like. And he got nervous and just started whiffing everything. Who knows? All right, here we go.
There, in some of these cases, the there you're looking for is not there.
What a baffling thing to say. Thomas Crooks is dead, of course. There was no trial against Thomas Crooks. And by the way, they weren't misspeaking. This wasn't an accident. We know that because the director of the FBI said the same thing once again under oath in front of Congress in September.
When your predecessor sat right there in that seat, last year in a committee hearing, I asked him a very detailed question about Matthew Thomas Crooks, the shooter responsible for the assassination attempt on President Trump's life. I did get an answer from Chris Wray that day, and I submitted written questions to the FBI and into the record of this committee, and I want to resubmit those questions today because I think we are still awaiting answers to those questions. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit them for the record, please. I'd like to ask you, sir, and the FBI, under your leadership, would you please respond to these questions, and can you commit to doing that?
As soon as the trial's over.
But if it's true that there's nothing here, then the FBI has a very strange way of showing it. In July of 2024, a bipartisan group of senators led by Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin sent a letter, quote, requesting records related to the July 13th, 2024 assassination attempt. Fully a year later, the FBI still had not responded. What is this about? This summer, Senator Johnson issued a new subpoena, noting that, quote, nearly a year after the assassination attempt, and the initiation of the subcommittee's investigation, the FBI has repeatedly failed to produce the subcommittee records and information critical to its investigation. In the subpoena, they demanded pictures and images related to the assassination, video footage, forensic reports, records related to FBI interviews, and notably, all records referring or relating to any of Thomas Crooks's electronic devices, digital or financial accounts, or online search history.
What are you telling us? I am totally unsatisfied. I am totally unsatisfied. You had a person with a modern rifle, modern scoped rifle at 130 yards who shot at the former commander-in-chief of the United States and a guy who was going to be, by all accounts at that point, the future commander-in-chief. And then they tried to kill my father 8 weeks later, you know, at his golf course in Palm Beach County, a golf course that I run every single day. I am totally unsatisfied that we have one picture of that shooter. The guy looks like he was 14 years old in the picture. We know nothing about him. We know nothing about him. Right? And I am totally unsatisfied with the result, and I think a lot of America is unsatisfied with the result, and I think we better get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Are you telling me there's a conspiracy here that you believe that Eric Trump believes resulted in the assassination attempt? Yes, I think they tried to kill my father because they did not want his voice on that stage.
Unfortunately, the reality is that the FBI, as of today, is not only stonewalling.
Cue Laura Loomer. What about the Muslims? Maybe they did it. Let's blame the Muslims. Christ.
Unfortunately, the reality is that the FBI, as of today, is not only stonewalling, but is actively preventing an honest look at what happened in Butler. Within days of the shooting, FBI agents collected all the relevant surveillance footage. That includes footage from local businesses, the state police, and critically, the gun range where Thomas Crooks trained. Did he train alone? We don't know, because to this day, the FBI refuses to release the footage. They confirmed it exists. They confirmed the existence of one gaming account, and then publicly said a few days later the account wasn't real. Was that incompetence, or are they lying? Within a day of the shooting, the social media companies that hosted Crooks's comments took his accounts offline. In some cases, the records of those comments in the Internet Archive were also erased. Did the FBI order that too? What we do know is that on the day of the attacks, Thomas Crooks got extremely lucky, miraculously lucky. After he arrived at the Butler County Fairgrounds on the morning of the shooting, Thomas Crooks conducted surveillance by flying his drone over the rally site. He flew that drone for 11 minutes. It just so happened the Secret Service's anti-drone system
how do you know that?
down at exactly the same moment. What are the odds? Later that afternoon.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I've not heard that.
How do they know that? So, the day before, he flew his drone at the same time that American surveillance was down over the area. What the fuck? And how do you know he was flying a drone for those 11 minutes?
I don't know.
Like the remote sending off a signal to the drone? Is that what you're telling me?
Maybe it's in messaging. Look at this. It says someone followed our lead and snuck in and parked by our cars, just so you know. I'm just letting you know because you see me go out with my rifle and put it in my car, so he knows you guys are up there. He's sitting to the direct right on a picnic table about 50 yards from the exit. I don't know what that is. Go back a little bit, be unblurred.
Drone for 11 minutes. It just so happened the Secret Service's...
Fuck, what does that say, bro? Text message from Beaver County Sniper Group Chat on July 13th. Okay.
Service's anti-drone system were down at exactly the same moment. What are the odds? Later that afternoon, police officers saw Crooks loitering with a backpack and a rangefinder. They identified him as a suspicious person, which he clearly was, but quickly lost.
Kid.
I've heard of this, the rangefinder thing.
Kid learning? Huh? Kid learning around building we are in. AGR, I believe it is.
Leaning. Typo.
Leaning. Okay. Kid leaning around building we are in. AGR, I believe it is. Rhyming. I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards stage. FYI, if you want to notify SS snipers to look out. I lost sight of him. Also, a bike with backpack sitting next to it in rear of building that was not seen earlier. Call it in, command, and have a uniform check it out. And you have images and shit like that. So why didn't?
So that's the surveillance of him with the rangefinder and the bicycle.
Yeah.
Wait, go back to those images. Did they show him with the rangefinder, or just pictures of?
Looks like he's just leaning there.
And he's got a mullet too. That doesn't help his case.
What are the odds? Later that afternoon.
Yeah, it's just him, like.
Yeah, being around.
Yeah.
Police officers saw Crooks loitering with a backpack and a rangefinder. They identified him as a suspicious person, which he clearly was, but quickly lost track of him. And so Crooks climbed to the top of the American Glass Research Building. That happened to be the only building in the area that did not have a video surveillance system. It was also, remarkably, inexplicably, outside the Secret Service's security perimeter, despite the fact it was very close to the stage. 2 local police officers assigned to the building saw Crooks, but they didn't report him. A third officer who was supposed to be there left early. At 6:11 p.m., Crooks opened fire from the rooftop.
Take a look at what happened.
I was just there for a while, like.
Within the vacuum left by the FBI,
It's like he waited for him
total unwillingness to explain what it
You hear like the sounds of it. It sounds like he, like almost like shot, then waited. He waited for him to go to the ground, and then started shooting again. Right? That's what it just sounds like to me. Like he hits him on the ear. He's sitting still right there. You can easily hit him, I would assume, right? Someone with trained at shooting guns, and then he just like kind of goes to the ground, and then he starts shooting again, but rapidly, a lot more rapidly, right? It's weird.
Take a look at what happened.
Within the vacuum left by the FBI and its total unwillingness to explain what had happened, the media were able to leverage the shooting to serve its own political ends. On ABC, we learned that this happened because white men own guns.
It was,
Pause. Before he gets into this, you got to realize the right was saying its own bullshit. So keep that in fucking mind.
Well, we're listening to
Both
Tucker.
sides were saying their own versions.
We already heard.
But no, I'm just like, we have an audience ourselves right now, even if it's not as many people. Just keep in mind, Tucker is playing a side.
Yeah. I mean, I feel as though I was like screaming about that already, but it's.
I'm just what we're going into. I'm
Yeah,
just
fair enough.
warning ahead of time.
It might bring up Fox News. Maybe I don't know. Here we go.
Learned that this happened because white men own guns.
it was, a 20-year-old lone wolf, white, whack job with easy access to a gun. And we have to have a conversation about that.
And within days of the shooting, U.S. intelligence officials started leaking about a supposed plot by the Iranian government to kill Trump. There was never any evidence, but if you were planning a regime change war against him, you might claim otherwise.
Let me read to you this breaking news that we are reporting from 3 U.S. officials who have been briefed
what's going on with everybody?
The U.S. obtained intelligence in recent weeks about an Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump.
The stonewalling, the lying, the persistent unwillingness to explain anything.
Yeah.
All of it makes you wonder, what are they hiding? If the leadership of the FBI and the DOJ had any desire whatsoever to prove to the public that there's in fact nothing there, they could do that. But first they would have
to hurl racial slurs and
was Thomas Crooks
anti-gay
known
remarks.
to federal law enforcement before the shooting?
We already did
was
that.
he known to local law
worry, you're
enforcement
covered.
before
Damn
the
it.
shooting?
Did it already.
And if not, why not?
I'm going on
Who
mute that.
is Willie Tepes and was
Way to ruin the fun for me,
federal
guys.
law enforcement? Is Willie Tepes linked to any violent organizations? Is he linked to any governments? And if so, then around the time of the shooting, did the FBI have assets inside those organizations? If Crooks wasn't known to anyone in authority before the shooting, how was he able to post hundreds of violent extremist comments under his real name between 2019 and 2020 without being detected by law enforcement or intel agencies at a time we know they were monitoring social media? with those comments, including.
I mean, that should have been
because
YouTube's
they
job. Right?
don't. No, because they don't fucking prosecute you for these things. They use it against you once you've done something.
Yes, they backtrack. Yeah, I would if they were doing that, that would be the way to do it. You'd backlog it, right? You wouldn't like, and it's just too much to do in real time. Too much. Too many people saying too much shit on the internet. There's no chance, right, to keep up with all that.
Right. And they are not. They can't get away with pre-crime, but they can throw the fucking book at you once you actually do one of these things.
Yes. Well, they'll usually just kill you, honestly.
Right. And then slander you like this.
Yeah. Well,
when you have no way of fighting back against it, which could be court or it could be in your death.
Yeah. And it could be this in this case. It could be. It could not be. Right. It could have been actually his real comments. Right. We don't.
Well,
we don't
here,
know.
let me give you an example. You get in a fight with your red-headed girlfriend. Remember, she's red-headed, and then you go back 15 years ago. Yeah, you go back 15 years ago, and you find a statement saying, like, "Man, I can't stand these redheads." Oh, so now he's got some kind of stigma against redheads. That's why he did it, and then we could call it a hate crime.
Yeah.
So, like, they could use it like that. And that's just an example of, like, light kind of way of them doing that kind of crap.
Now, I'll be fair here in regards to, like, because I don't know exactly how the technology would work, but that is a lot of data for a lot of people. That is a lot of data.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if let's say every so often, other than like red flag people, everyone else they just delete and get rid of it from their servers and then replace it with the new comments that come in, right? So there might be like a
no, they
kind
just
of a
store it
flushing
all.
out. That's a lot of data, though. That's a lot.
It's the NSA has like supercomputer and like what are those big computers that are just like storing data kind of things and facilities? They just have it like a lot of those.
So much. How do you even curate through that, bro? I guess AI would have to do it. But like
you don't.
That's a lot.
Yeah, you don't do it until it's needed to persecute someone. Like you got them on this, but you need evidence, so you go back 15 years to find the thing that can fucking screw this guy over. Context doesn't matter.
I mean, think of all the text messaging, social media messaging, videos you visit, thumbs up you give, thumbs downs you give, comments, all that shit. And then imagine that for 350 million fucking people, and you're storing that. So like you're gonna run out of room. You're going to run out of room. That is a lot. So I assume they have like a certain red flag system of people to keep an eye on, maybe, and then the rest they just like kind of delete, and then it gets replaced with new comments that are said, right? Like, if that person doesn't do anything in 10 years, those comments might be disappeared somewhere. Otherwise, I'm like, where do you store this? Like where?
I think what Snowden was saying was the metadata, all of it's just stored. Don't matter what
metadata
you do.
is a little bit different than direct. I mean, even that is a lot, right? Think of like a server for Apple by themselves, right? Think of how large that is just for them, just for Apple users, right? Their own Apple servers. Like now, imagine it's all fucking companies, big and small companies, big or small phone companies.
Erased.
Like that is so much.
That's my opinion. None of it is ever erased. They have the money to make enough of this storage stuff that they're all keeping it because they want deals with the government. And the deal is government. Well, one of the deals is government's like, all right, always give us what we want whenever we got somebody that we need to, for some reason, use something from 15 years ago against them.
Okay, fair enough.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know if I'm accurate on that.
I'd have to see the tech behind it for me to like mentally make sense of it. That is so much shit.
I agree, it's a lot, but I think they've got the computers at this point that like terabytes are nothing anymore.
Yeah. Nah, fair enough, but like a terabyte cannot contain you by yourself, your entire internet and phone call history. A terabyte is nowhere near enough. Nowhere fucking near it.
At these companies, they're at the next measure. What comes after a terabyte? I think they're at that.
Okay. And they have it like in like shrunken down sizes, like a fucking pin the size like that, but it holds a terabyte of information. Maybe.
Right.
But all right, let's continue.
Well, they were innovating on like new ways to do storage in terms of like, oh, can we store this in like DNA? Can we store this in different types of mechanisms? Because there's no way that they're gonna have that many data centers. There'd be data centers everywhere if they're like saving everything.
Even if it's new storage, it has to come back
We
to
don't
like a
think
data center.
they're saving everything.
Well, I'm saying like if there's like a cloud service, right? It still comes back to some sort of hardware somewhere. It's not like
always everything on the internet has to have an actual material.
Yeah.
Because you need the water to keep the data centers cool. You need
exactly
the actual infrastructure. There's always infrastructure involved, even in the quote unquote cloud.
Yeah.
Always.
24/7 like generators in case power
24/7,
goes out.
and then there's maintenance and
exactly. Be like an infinite fucking building if they had like servers with all our fucking data in it. It'd be like just be infinite. Just like what the fuck is this? Am I in the Matrix?
Well, yeah.
Oh fuck, am I?
And then
unless they have some like decentralized way of like keeping it everywhere. I don't know.
Apple, Amazon.
Because isn't that what blockchain was supposed to do? It was supposed to replace the need for the it's supposed to replace the cloud, quote unquote, because you're supposed to decentralize storage.
Okay. I mean,
like so everybody's device would essentially be some sort of mechanism for storage. Like it's I don't know exactly, but
okay,
I remember reading.
That works. That works. That makes sense to me. To where like
I
instead of
think
being
that's because I read this book called The Spatial Web. It was all about web like 3.0 or 4.0, and it was he was explaining like what like blockchain would be equivalent to in terms of like what we're using now, the quote unquote cloud, and then the computing system for that would be AI.
That makes way more sense. Instead of like having a server dedicated for, here's Jordan's, internet history, here's a server for that. Instead of that, it'll just be my phone or my tech or whatever I use. Let that store it, and then we can just access that storage whenever we want to. That would save space, that would save hardware. They're going to have phones anyway, so I can just access their phone. Even if the phone fucking dies, there's still some sort of, like its own record on it, some form or fashion.
Some sort of like input.
Well, it's all,
yeah.
It's
some sort of chain.
That would make more.
It's also every.
I think that's what it is.
Internet.
That's my cursory understanding.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just making sure that people know that it's not I'm not like an expert on that. I'm just, in my mind, that's the only way that it would logically work.
Yeah.
In terms
of the biggest
components.
One of the biggest purchases for all of these online companies is big old empty buildings with just fucking servers in them.
Like they could have something where it's like specialized.
Football fields and distance.
But that could be someone like specialized. Servers. That could be like specialized, possibly, or it could be like the old model. Right. Maybe it's the old model of like we're just.
They can use both. They can use multiple multi-model.
Yeah, they're all upgrading to supercomputer level stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
who
think
knows?
Most likely both, but like I think they have more of like here's a red flag dedicated servers for just those red flags, or we would like their version of red flag when it's not really red flag for us, but for their version of red flag, it's like, okay, let's keep an eye on this person or these people or these groups, foreign or domestic. Let's keep an eye on them and let's save their data, like hard save it on, dedicated servers for it. That would make sense. But everyone, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So, Jordan,
and it would be a wasted space.
Yeah.
When you start your own website and you start it at the very bottom, part of your expense is going to be you need a server or you need to pay someone to utilize their server to keep your website on for 24/7, which can be anywhere from I don't even know the price range, but it's a monthly fee. You're paying if you're renting a server from one of these big companies, they'll supplement part of their collection of servers to just you.
Yeah.
And the bigger your website gets, the more comments that are made on your website, the more products you're selling on your website, all build to the storage space on the server. And if you get to the next level, you need to rent a higher fee from that person you're
because you're going to
the
take up
server
more
from.
energy, more space.
So
Yeah.
they supplement as other people make websites.
Mhm.
Your goal as a self-sufficient like website owner is to get your own server.
Yeah, you can run your own
because that
server.
would cut down on. Yeah, it's going to be cheaper than rent, but then you
Yeah.
got to also calculate in electricity.
Yeah.
And then if you keep getting bigger,
Maintenance.
you know how the water issue is a thing at the macro level.
Sure.
I mean, before
because
people did
of-
have their own servers, basically, like they had
Yeah.
their own, like it's like people used to kind of have their own, like even like database or servers, like. But then we just kind of like put it in the cloud, like that.
But that means
was the
every
transition.
comment on your website is stored until you erase it. But
No, I'm
let's
saying
say
like back in the day.
YouTube's
It
server,
was just
they don't
PC.
want to erase anything because they get a deal with the government, as in like a lobbyist trade. Here, I got something to give you because you're prosecuting this guy and you want something he said 15 years ago. I'm YouTube. Here you go.
But that's a company like it's like not everyone uses AT&T, not everyone uses T-Mobile, not everyone uses Verizon.
Right.
They're all separate.
But all these big
Not-
companies, like LinkedIn, has the same deal. Just
Mhm.
Google in general has the same deal. Apple has the same deal with the government because it's a tit for tat. Here's something for you. Show me when the next contract that would be interesting to my type of company that's coming from the government. I'm on the lobbyist side of this. I need to see these things. Yeah, throw it right to me before you throw it to anybody else. I want to be on the end. So it's something else that the
Specific
big
assassination.
corporation, the big corporation has to offer to the government to be good with them.
Okay. Well, yeah. But once again, we were going on like the whole Edward Snowden, the whole thing's fucking surveilled, 24/7.
Oh,
storing your data,
you know
and
what's
all
interesting? And one of the things that that Edward Snowden had actually released, I like came across this when I was looking for something else. But one of the remember when it was a whole thing where they were saying like the U.S. government or like the NSA was sending malware to people's like homes, like through these like these memory sticks and whatever the hell it was. But anyway, one of the ones that was like super pervasive apparently, and you get it through some website that they were running, and the actual malware was called Grok.
I have never heard of
You
that.
couldn't.
Yes, I am.
I came across it by accident. I will send you the link, but I just thought that was interesting. It was, and that thing was monitoring your keystrokes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh god, it's like that thing. That thing when like you say something out loud, like, "Hey man, I just I wish I could get these Nikes." Then 5 minutes later, an ad pops up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and it's selling you Nike sneakers. Like, yeah, what the fuck,
Yeah.
bro? I think everyone's had that before. That experience.
Yeah,
It's like,
but
what
specifically that one, the Grok one, was the one that was like dedicated to that.
Oh my god.
So
Hey Jordan,
Yes,
you
please.
can digitally get those Nike sneakers in 2K25 on Island mode now.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. You mentioned ad, he thought of ad. You are Grok.
Yeah.
Let me find the article. Even the Intercept even had covered it. It was just funny. It's like, why? Okay.
Please,
Interesting.
send me that, Seb, so I can up.
Yeah, I'm about to send that to you right now. Hold on.
People watching on YouTube, I will link that also in the description box if you want to read into it for yourself.
Oh god, Sebs, when you said Grok, I like almost misread that as another name. Like misheard that as another name for a second.
Oh, Grok.
Yeah, I can ban you, Katie. You know that, right? I can ban you.
Okay, so let me try to elaborate this. So what I just said about like all these companies just keep all this information, they got something to trade to the government. What if that is what kind of Snowden was saying with NSA kind of has everything, but it's because YouTube will give them,
Yeah.
and like NSA might be who they give it to of the government, and it's like it's just they got a spider web, and one of their spider webs is YouTube, another one's Google, another one is Twitter, another one is Facebook,
That's kind of what.
etc. So it's they work together so that they are, yes, NSA does have everything.
That's kind of what I think Sebs was saying about like individual phones. Like maybe we don't need to store your phone; we could just get access to it whenever we want to. That would apply there too. That makes that also makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can just access Google whenever the fuck we want
That's
to.
more efficient, I think.
Exactly. Right. You don't need 40-mile long server rooms. Right. It's like that's kind of dumb.
But
maybe the old way.
40-mile longs. There is
Okay, I
still a
just put it in the chat.
collection.
Yeah.
There is still a collection of 40-mile storage rooms because of all these
absolutely
individual companies. Because of
that's
all
why
these
they're taking
individual
everyone's
companies.
water, and people are that's why people's water bills are going up and shit. Fucking.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That's definitely true.
I've heard about that story.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're doing like multiple things at the same time. Like it could all be like it could be like a yes and rather than like no, this is it.
Yeah. Where was that at? What state was in? A protest about the servers moving into a certain community, and they're like
Southwest
and the fucking water bills.
Mexico.
Or sorry, it was electricity in that case. Electricity
A
bills
lot
were
of
going
places.
fucking crazy.
A lot of
because
places.
Giant server fucking buildings.
It's becoming a problem everywhere right now. If you follow it around, I hear about it in the Southwest a lot. New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Texas, parts of California. That's where I hear about it the most.
It's like one of those things where Americans are getting fucked, but it's like only a small number are knowing about it as of now, and then later on it explodes at some point. We're like, wait a minute, why are they doing this? Right? But initially it's just like, it's like with farming, where it's like initially it's a farmer who gets pissed off because he's getting screwed over, and then it just grows and grows and grows, and then someday, I'm sure some politician will use it as a talking point to win an election, but it's just weird how that happens continuously. Over and over again.
And then Hershey gets mad, or no, Hershey's gets mad. No, we bought the water.
And get no return on it, really.
Wasn't that 15 years?
Jobs.
That was like 15 years ago. I heard about that Hershey story, and it was like the Great Lakes. They bought the right to the Great Lakes.
Shout out to Disney for buying the birthday song. You know what? Let's see if I get copyrighted for this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. All right, Disney.
Go.
Copyright
me. Great night.
Dude, your voice sucks.
His voice isn't so bad. It's pitch that needs work. Can we work on that?
The whole thing.
Shut the fuck up, both you.
So so anyway, this is in my mind. I was thinking, maybe Grok's like AI is actually just like a keystroke lock. It's just logging. Like that's what X is now. It's just fucking.
Yeah, since
that's my conspiracy. I'm sticking to it. Go ahead.
Since I'm not like so active on social media, I keep forgetting that Grok exists.
But Grok remembers you.
Yeah.
I'm just like I want to get rid of the fucking app now.
I've like
but whatever.
not been
I don't
on
care.
the app.
I've
not been on the app in such a long time.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But I feel like maybe that's what the app does now.
I've never been on the app, and I think it still does something to me.
Katie sees Grok killed itself because he's just seeing keystrokes of Brock Lesnar every fucking day. BROCK, BROC. Fuck, I'm done.
Robot suicide.
I'm out of here.
It's like I can't take it anymore.
All right, we got 4 minutes left. Let's play this and watch some fights.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go.
Against specific public officials ever reported to YouTube. Other users complained about them. Did YouTube know? Why is the FBI telling us that they'll release this information, quote, after the trial,
flagging.
When there is no trial, why did an FBI agent from the Technical Hazards Response Unit hose down the crime scene the day after the attack? That seems very strange. What happened on the roof of the American Glass Research Building for the 10 seconds after Crooks' last shot until he was killed by the Secret Service? Does the FBI have surveillance footage of Thomas Crooks shooting that day? Was the FBI present at the medical examiner's autopsy? Are there still blood samples? Can they be examined by outside authorities? When Congress demanded the autopsy, did the FBI restrict what the examiner could tell the Congress? When the FBI cleared the coroner to release Crooks' body for cremation, did they keep tissue samples, brain tissue samples, spinal cord samples, or spinal fluid samples? Law enforcement sources told us that in a typical investigation in a crime of this nature, it would be normal to preserve all of that, those samples. If the FBI didn't, why not? And who made that decision to destroy what could be critical evidence in an attempted murder case? FBI agents went to the same gun range that Thomas Crooks was using. Who were those agents, and did any of them at any time have any contact with Thomas Crooks? Who did he train with exactly, and why can't we know? Was Thomas Crooks taking...
How trained was he? Because he was whiffing, right? He was whiffing badly, right? Once again, Trump was like upright. He turned and like kind of ducked down a little bit, but he didn't like dive to the floor, right? He's like slowly went down. And if like you were training all day, and once again, he could have been nervous or something, but like you would think like someone who's trained at 130 yards, you would think he'd, I don't know, hit more than just the tip of his ear, you know? But here we go.
Crooks. Who did he train with exactly, and why can't we know?
Was it
Thomas
Antifa?
Crooks taking drugs that might have turned up on the toxicology report, but that weren't listed somehow? On what date specifically did FBI agents stop investigating Thomas Crooks' online presence? Why did the former deputy director of the FBI, Paul Abate, suggest to Congress that Crooks was a right-winger when he clearly wasn't? Was the FBI aware of Crooks' public comment?
You lying motherfucker. I'll wait till the end to really rant on... Because as much as the story itself is weird, right? And there are worthy questions. The way Tucker's doing this is fucking weird to me. Very weird. Especially the things we saw, you know, in this documentary. Here we go.
Former deputy director of the FBI,
He wasn't on the right.
Abate, suggested to Congress that Crooks was a right-winger when he clearly wasn't.
Oh, you mean
Was the
Tucker? He's on the
FBI
left?
aware of Crooks' public comments before the shooting, many of which are openly violent, that included specific assassination attempts involving public officials? Who was Thomas Crooks in communication with in the days?
Science wins. You can't not only... What? You can't not only was he born here, he also belongs here. Ilhan Omar and others are invaders and should honestly be killed and their dead bodies sent back. Why'd they call him a right-winger? Says Tucker. I see why someone might call him a right-winger. Now, I wouldn't say that. I'd say mentally fucking ill and, at best, extremist ideas, right? Not right or left. Just extremist. Maybe he borrowed the flavors of the right, quote-unquote the right, but, like, regular people don't go this direction.
Oh,
like,
I get
just
it.
Kill them.
I get why he's... No, this was before he said the change, so that doesn't even count, but...
Even after the change, it still lends in that direction.
No, but I was gonna say because he's watching MSNBC.
Oh, got it. Got it. Only lefties do that shit. But it's like, Tucker, you can't show me this. He's clearly not on the right. See? He wants to kill Ilhan Omar. We just want to deport her. Fucking hell.
Assassination attempts involving public officials.
Hey, come on,
Who was
guys.
Thomas Crooks in communication with in the days before the attack? What does his burner phone show? And in fact, why did he have a burner phone and encrypted foreign email accounts? Who are the government officials trying to link Iran to the shooting? Why did the FBI suggest that he had no digital footprint in the first place when the FBI had a great deal of evidence, hundreds and hundreds of comments from his digital activity? And what's on the other dozen accounts that the FBI clearly had access to? How long had Thomas Crooks been planning to commit an assassination? If there's nothing there, if they tell you this is just a lone nut who gave no indication he might do this, then what is stopping the FBI
hold on.
from at
Pause.
least giving the facts
Hold on,
to
let him-
Congress.
Let Tucker conclude.
Because if there's nothing there, these should be very easy questions to answer.
All right, God.
I was just thinking about this. Him showing the guy training, or shooting his pistol in his house.
It looked like he was like fantasizing. That's what it looked like, right?
Well, think about what that implies with any other American that has a gun and film themselves shooting.
Yeah.
It means they're guilty. They're guilty because they shot a gun and they filmed it.
Yeah, they won't
This
go
guy
there.
was plotting.
The best they're gonna
This
do
guy
is
was plotting for years.
the best they're gonna do here is imply what Tucker is quietly implying, which is when he said the most extreme things, right? He was on the right, but when he switched teams, there was a moment where he switched his teams because he brought up racism. So now he switched teams. Now he's on the left. He sounds like MSNBC, and this foreign group that was designated a white supremacist terrorist group, that was also Antifa, according to Tucker Carlson. As we can read it on screen, that's not the case. Like, what are we talking about? Like, once again, I would rather spend more time. Like, I'd rather be like at the end of this documentary, being like, "Whoa, all these questions about Thomas Crooks and all this stuff," but I can't help but look at fucking Tucker Carlson. I can't fucking help it because that's weird to do that. That's very weird. He called that foreign group. He called them Antifa, and we like just sat there and just read the caption like, "What?" Like, excuse me? What are they called? Neo-Nazi? By the once again, he's using their standards to say like it's a foreign terrorist group or whatever the fuck, right? But that same agency called them neo-Nazis, white supremacists, anti-gay, whatever, they're pro-racism, whatever the fuck the idea is, right? And he's like, it's Antifa. Like, expecting his audience, like, hey, audience, Tucker thinks you're a fucking idiot if he does shit like that. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. There's no way that he just only saw the highlighted part of that article thing right there, or that distinction by the feds, right? There's no fucking chance. That yellow highlighted portion was the only thing he actually saw. There's no fucking chance that's the case. So he must have read that other stuff, hoped that you wouldn't look at it and say, look, it's Antifa. Why do you keep saying he's on the right? He's not on the right. But he can't say he's on the left, though. He can't say that. All he can do is just throw out keywords to make it sound that way. What a fucking full of shit artist, bro. Like, I'm on here trying to hear about Thomas Crooks. That's exactly why I watched this video. Like, maybe Tucker has some ideas, some investigation, something, right? Maybe something I want to listen to. Instead, what do I get? Propaganda mixed in with Thomas Crooks stuff. Right? People are like, well, Tucker's right, though. There's questions here. But, like, look at these little things he's feeding you in between that shit. And this is something where it's pretty slick to where the average viewer that's already, quote-unquote, right-leaning and already Tucker fans might not notice. They might skip past
Especially
it.
a boomer with bad eyesight.
I mean, I heard you two doing almost PR. Dubster and Amy. I swear to God, you guys were doing like kind of like PR. Maybe not for Tucker or for that shit, but like you're like, oh, well, I can see this being the left. I'm like, come on. Just stay away from my guns. They're trying to take my guns. Yeah, it's totally a left-leaning guy. I can believe that one, right?
You're talking about the terrorist organization. There are right and left-leaning Nazi versions.
We read it, bro. Come on, we read the fucking thing.
Yeah,
he didn't say left or right. He said Antifa, right? Which has a trigger word. Does that not have like a trigger word?
Right.
Right.
That was dishonest of him. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what that group is, you and I, we do not know unless we look into it if they are right or left leaning. Regardless, they're neo-Nazis that are against LGBTQ, that are against, what are the other things it was against?
I don't know. Racial shit, whatever. We got the opposite of what typical Americans view Antifa as, right?
Right. Because Antifa's, it's obvious Antifa's on the side of LGBTQ and the side of BLM
and anti-white supremacy and all that shit, right? So
Right.
it doesn't like.
But it could still be another leftist group, but you and I will not know that until we look into it. And it didn't say anything like that in the portion he highlighted, that they were left or right. It could be a right-leaning group too. It could be a right or left-leaning group.
That's
we
the
don't
quiet
know.
marketing that I'm talking about, Dubster. Stereotypically, if they said we're here to support the gays, the blacks, and all white people are racist, what would you deem them as? Go ahead, tell the classroom what you would deem them as. Be honest. Be honest. Come on.
I would refer you back to the Nazi. I would refer you back to the Nazi Party.
Would you say they could be left? They could be right. Who
socialists.
knows? Would you do that? Would you say they could be left? They could be right? Who
Okay,
knows?
I would say
you
they're
do that?
left. I would say they're left. I would say
Okay.
they're left.
Thank you. I just want the same honesty, but this I like. Once again, I'm not calling those guys the right.
But
I'm not saying they represent the
what
right.
I'm saying
stereotypically.
What I'm saying today, there are people that are on the right that do believe in Nazi beliefs. So it's open there's not necessarily right or left to terrorist organizations.
No, I was
Unless
saying
you-
that. I'm saying stereotypically though, you can't say like the way Tucker's doing it. You can't say these things that he's saying, where he sounds like MSNBC or he's working with some Antifa type group, right? That's just out there. You can't do that shit, right? Do you agree with
Right.
that?
Their idea opposes the general understanding of Antifa. The more than likely I can't say 100%, but I would say 99% of what Antifa is claiming to be.
Yeah. And it's like, once again, I'm not saying this guy represents the right. Like, neo-Nazis do not represent the right. Right? In fact, a lot of those guys fight those motherfuckers, right? But what I'm saying is, stereotypically, on the surface, what lame brain person that like dabs into politics every so often but doesn't really look into it, what does the mainstream news say? They'll say, oh, white supremacists that voted for Trump. Oh, Trump's dog whistling to white supremacy, right? Right? That's kind of the typical thing. Meaning, like, if you heard that, you wouldn't say left leaning, like at all, right? But Tucker's kind of doing that, and I think you and Amy were a little bit, maybe not Amy as much, but you were definitely doing that. Like, oh, it could be left or right. Like, come on, man.
Well, I go back to the understanding of Nazi is no National Socialist, so therefore it is not right leaning.
Stop it. Stop it.
So that's where I go with
Stop
that.
it.
That's where my brain is on the topic of, okay, National Socialism, not right leaning. It's just a different form of left.
Fair enough, but like that's not the way the rest of the world looks at it. Just so you know, when they see the idea of supremacy, racial supremacy, they look at someone like Nick Fuentes and be like, "See, look, that's that, and that guy. That's why Nick's a Nazi, according to people, right?"
Well, that's also retarded because it was the Republicans that ended fucking slavery. It's the Republicans that brought on the civil rights.
People are not there anymore. Like
It's the Republicans that brought on the civil rights. So
okay, but people in modern era are used to Reagan and Bush Jr. and Trump. They're used to that as the right wing, as Republican. And you'd see why they might say, these guys are racist. They're white supremacists.
Which have been less racist than Carter, Bill Clinton, and fucking Obama.
Yeah, once again, you're doing the marketing thing and the goggles. You have your
it's not marketing.
Team playing goggles on.
It's actual analysis of the racism of both parties still to this day.
Okay, but you understand why people
look at it, and they were more racist on the left every time.
Okay, but you understand why people believe a certain way, like, right?
Do you not understand that the other side looks at it this way?
I understand that, but like even that doesn't fall into the stereotypes of things, right? You do see why people would like black people in the 80s might call Reagan a racist, right? You see why that would happen, right?
What I'm saying,
Dubster, which party today is okay with racial profiling for checking if somebody's legitimate or not?
What I'm saying is
today
The right looks at the Democrats as the racist, as they have since the Civil War. They are always the
as
racist
Jesse
party.
said, they're also rounding up people for having brown skin, and there's no denying that.
They're not. They're rounding up illegal immigrants.
How come they're capturing Americans?
For being...
How do you know somebody's an illegal immigrant before
because
rounding them up?
Because they have already figured out who they are.
So how come they capture Americans then? How'd that happen? Or people with visas or green cards? No, they actually they arrest them by like isolated by themselves. Like there's no other group in the way. It's just them by themselves in their car. They get taken away. Then they find out they're Americans later. How does that happen?
I don't know. I haven't seen the cases on that.
Listen, man. You can do the goggles that your Republican goggles on if you want, but like I'm gonna try to look at reality the best I can. You know.
I'm looking at reality the best I can.
Well, I think you're struggling.
I'm going by the words you've said before. You've been okay with it.
The Republican Party has been the liberating party for 150 years.
Okay. All right. There's your video, guys. Please subscribe if you feel. I'm going to save you from the embarrassment. There's your video, guys. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I wanted to learn more about Thomas Crooks. I think I did learn some things. I think the peak prosperity video was a lot better. It's a lot more analytical and about like how the fuck did this guy get up here without no one seeing him? How many shots were fired? Were there two different guns that were being shot? Not the Secret Service sniper shot, but like actually like being shot towards Trump. Was it two different guns possibly? Right? I think peak prosperity does a lot better job. Unfortunately though, with Tucker's video, it's just brain rot, actual brain rot in some of his narratives here, and it's unnecessary. There's no reason to. Like, who cares what side he's on? The guy did some criminal shit, some extremist shit, and he's out of his fucking mind. Like that for me, that's guaranteed. If that kid actually did that, Thomas Crooks, if he actually did that, then he is obviously severely mentally ill. There's no way around it. So thus, you don't need to do the left-right thing. You don't have to. You could skip that and just go with, this guy did some fucked up shit, but maybe he didn't do it. Maybe it was set up. Maybe he did do it, but had help. Maybe he did do it, but the FBI like let him go. Didn't like follow a good lead. Maybe Secret Service maybe stood down that day for a second. Whatever theory you can come up with, right? It's just unfortunate that Tucker has to lie. I don't think. It's like, there's no Tucker, you're winning right now. I hope you realize that, publicly. People view you as a legit voice for the quote-unquote right. You even have quote-unquote lefties saying, yeah, Tucker Carlson, he's a legit good guy. You have that out there. Why do you need to lie like that? Lie or just be, absurdly incorrect, incompetent, absurdly like that. So, there's no reason for it. And that's the thing that astounded me the most, more so than anything about Thomas Crooks in this entire fucking thing. I think we gave better analysis about Thomas Crooks in this fucking documentary did. Because Tucker throws fucking politics into it. Fucking dweeb. In a fake cabin. But go ahead, tell me in the comment section. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. All opinions are welcome. And I mean all opinions are welcome. Just nothing pornographic or grotesque. That's all I asked for. And everything I showed you will be linked.
In his DMs.
Everything I showed you will be linked in the description box, as well as. I put 4 links down. Okay. I'll show just some of them on screen right now. There'll be 4 more links attached to the Tucker's video and Kash Patel's pathetic fucking tweet. Next to those 2 pieces of content, you'll see articles like this.
This is CNET, and here are the stories.
Shut up, CNET. Right, no one asked you. There'll be 4 more links speaking specifically about the some of this NSA stuff. So please check that out. And with all that said, most importantly, give this video a thumbs down. Wee.